Unorthodox, what you been up to, buddy?
Today I have been cleaning house and fixing targets.
Okay.
Fixing to do a complete remodel to the inside of this house.
Ooh, nice.
That's
Nice. Rios, what about you, man? What you been up to?
Oh man, the past few weekends I've been doing bow shoots. We had a ASA bow shoot today, and then last weekend I went and shot a fun shoot.
Wait a minute, hold on. Tommy, you ain't got no power. What's going on?
Do you still have the echo?
No, you're good now.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry about that.
All good. Panther Platforms, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm at work, so
Okay. Well, hey, I know I told everybody earlier today I'd be going on my normal time, about 9 or 9:30. Sorry, it's almost 11. I'm just not getting on. The kids stayed out later than I thought at the pool party.
well, from where I'm at, you're only 20 minutes late.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but where I'm at, I'm an hour late.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock where you're at. 11:30 where you're at.
It's 11. It's 10:52 where I'm at right now.
Oh damn, it's barely 8:52 where I'm at.
Well, ain't you just special?
52 here.
Special ed maybe.
Yeah.
JD, I know you're tied in with Black Flag Archery.
Used to be.
Okay, well then I may have Broadhead I want you to try.
Well, I actually just kind of did a verbal agreement with another company that I will be revealing here in a little bit.
Okay.
Who else is in here? Evan, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing? Welcome to the live. I ain't seen you on here in a minute.
That's my first time.
I know, that's what I'm saying. As far as in my live, I ain't never been in here. So I gotta officially welcome you.
I want you to
here.
check.
So Evan, for people that don't know you, you've been in my TikTok quite a good bit, but you've never been in a live. Go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do, what you're about, where you hunt, where you live. Go through it all.
Yeah, I'm Evan. I'm from Kansas. Bow hunted all my life, so never picked up a gun or rifle hunt other than or pew pew. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Varmint hunting stuff like that with one, but
So have you ever hunted anywhere other than Kansas, or mainly
no,
just?
I've only Kansas. So
Okay. Yeah, me down here in Georgia, I've never hunted anywhere other than Georgia. I want to. I want to get out there with Seth at Panther Platform. I want to get out there in Indiana with him. Ohio. I want to come out there with Unorthodox. I kind of want to get out there with Drew, but I'm not too sure. But Rios, I definitely want to get out there with you. Send some long bombs.
Oh yeah. Last weekend at that little fun shoot that we had, we shot 4 courses, 15 targets, and of course, they have their classes, and I won the open, and then they had a 154-yard long shot, and of course I can't.
154.
Yes, and
God.
and of course I can't
Nope.
shoot that. I can't shoot that with my target bow, so I took my hunting bow and I shot it with my hunting bow, and I won. That long shot.
What?
It was
That's far enough out there to fire. Take a shot at. Take a sip of your coffee, then lean over to the spotting scope, and then watch the impact.
yeah.
Insane. Hats off. I'm not taking my hat off because I'm too bald, but hats off to you on a 154-yard shot, let alone winning on the 154-yard shot.
It was closest to the 12 ring, and it was $20 for 5 arrows. So I gave the guy $40, and I shot my first 5 arrows, and I looked through my spotting scope, and I saw where they were hitting. So I adjusted for it, and I hit the 12 ring at 154 yards. It was probably a quarter inch inside the 12 ring, and of course the 12 ring was probably the size of like a Coca-Cola can, and I hit it a quarter inch inside, and I beat the guy that was in the lead, and he went and dropped another $100 down, and he shot like 20 arrows or whatever it was, and he never caught up to me, so I won that long shot. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Good Lord, man. That's insane.
That's a poke for the bow.
JD,
Yeah.
2025. Do you want to go to Illinois with me?
What time of the year?
First weekend of bow season, so like first week of October.
I might be able to make that work, but I think that same time of year, next year I'll be trying. I'm trying to get on out there at Indiana with Seth, but it'll just depend.
Well,
Seth wants me to come out there with him bad.
I can move it around. It's a family spot. It just whenever you're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Seth, what you got going on besides work and having to leave and get back in already?
No, nothing much. There's a lot of radio chatter tonight.
Okay, that's all right.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah, it does.
How's Greg and Brandon doing? How's little Bo doing?
They're actually down in Wayne National, riding four-wheelers right now this weekend. They're in Athens County, and it's
Correct me if I'm wrong. But
he's
Bo
kind of
is
riding
Brandon,
four-wheelers and doing some scouting.
right? Bo is Brandon's boy, right?
Yeah, Bo's Brandon's boy.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, they're all down there, right? But he goes riding all over the country. I mean, they go down to Kentucky. They just got back from Kentucky, and then they go up to Michigan. They go over to West Virginia. I mean, they ride trails all over the freaking place.
Okay. Glenn Mason, thank you for the follow, buddy. Appreciate it. Chicken grease is 9:52 there. Okay, so you're an hour behind. All right. Sounds good. Evan, you've only told me you live in Kansas. I mean, you bow hunt all your life. All right. Well, what else you got?
Oh,
Come on, typical new kid in class. First day new kid in class with you.
Not talking.
well, yeah. I got out of bow hunting. Like, I'm just now getting back in. This whole TikTok thing has got me re-energized.
Very good.
And
Good.
I stepped away from it for about 10 years because
All right. How? So you've been doing it all your life. You stepped away for about 10 years. So, what? Mid 30s, early 30s. How old are you?
I'm 45.
45. Okay. I was a little off. All right. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I guess. Well, hold on. Let me look at your picture. Yeah, you're ugly enough to be 45.
Yeah, 45, married, got 4 kids.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No, I got just graduated my first one out of high school.
There you go. Okay.
Last 2 are twins.
Cool deal. Very cool.
Living life.
You, all the other guys in here have heard me talk about it plenty of times. Do you happen to saddle hunt at all?
No, I don't.
Why?
Well, it's one. I'm a big boy,
Okay.
so.
So what if I told you there was a
I have
platform?
unstable height scariness, I should say. I think just
Are you a climber?
Huh?
Do you use a climber?
No, mainly ladder stands or just hang on stands with a ladder stick.
Right. Are you opposed to using a climber?
We don't have trees straight enough in Kansas here where I hunt, so.
Okay. The reason I was getting at it is the guy right above you, Panther Platforms, they have a class-leading, industry-changing climbing platform where you don't need sticks. And I've seen the test video. It's rated for insurance purposes. It's rated at 300 pounds, but they have tested it over 1,000 pounds and it's not even budging.
That's crazy.
It actually lift up the Ford 250 heavy duty truck.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
it lifts the back end of the truck up. So, I mean, if you are interested, if anybody in who's interested in a climbing platform where you don't have to lug in 3 different sticks, you don't have to waste 20 minutes per stick putting it on the tree, you just feel like climbing up a tree in 3 minutes and hanging out on a 19-inch wide by 10-inch deep platform where you're comfortable all day, check out PantherQuickClimb.com and Panther Platforms. Check them out. And they've also got their own gear hooks that go around the tree. They're rated up to 25 pounds. I'm not carrying a 25-pound pack in there, so you're good on that.
I appreciate that, JD.
And they've got a lot of cool stuff going on over there at Panther, and they're working on a lot more stuff too.
I don't like carrying in the sticks, but I also don't like saddle hunting for the same reasons Evan said. I'm a big boy, and I just can't get my head around this rope is always holding me in here. But
Yeah,
I
and
might end up needing to get a Panther platform and having my itty bitty out on a limb deer stand that I like to hunt out of so much, and use the platform to climb the freaking tree, and then slap my stand up on the tree, and then sit in my stand and have the Panther platform right there where I got twice as much platform around the tree and do it that way.
Yeah, so there is, and those are both great comments on that. I get that all the time. About one, I'm scared of heights, and 2, I'm a bigger guy. We get that a lot, and the benefit with ours is if you climb a ladder stand, and you're used to climbing ladder stands, if you use our platform for a week, try go climbing that ladder stand, and you'll be blown away as how hard it is for you to climb that ladder stand. And it may seem unbelievable, but really, I mean, that's the truth behind it. There's been I've challenged multiple people to do that, and the results are always the same. It's like I would have never thought that climbing a ladder stand would have been way more difficult than using the platform. Another thing is we used to hang-ons, up in the tree. We hunt public land, and so we would make them so they were extremely hard to steal. And I look back at some of the shit that I did, and it's like, how the hell did I not freaking fall? And after using this system and saddle hunting, you're so safe. You don't want to go back to another way because you're always tied off to the tree. It's comfortable. It's not as comfortable as a summit, seat, the summit climbing seats. I'm not going to say it's as comfortable as those because, I mean, that's unmatched comfortability. But it's close enough to where it's the only way that I'm going to hunt the rest of my life.
So, Evan, you said you were scared of heights. I was terrified of heights until I got into a saddle.
Right.
I shook. The first time I climbed, climbing ladder stands, I shook climbing up. I hunted public land my whole life. And so we did sketchy stuff so people didn't steal them too. And going back now and getting in my saddle, for one, I'm a lot more confident during the climb. For 2, I feel a lot more safe, and it all comes out with you, so you don't have to do the screwed up rigging so nobody steals it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my problem was I went to lineman school in college, and I burned a pole. And ever since I did that, my head's been screwed up.
Oh. Yeah, and this is not for everybody. Saddle hunting is not for everyone.
Yeah, I'm a lineman too. I climb every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, saddle hunting is not for everybody. And
But,
you know, saddle hunting does not make you kill deer.
but my biggest deer have been on the ground that I've harvested.
Yeah, right.
My two biggest was walking on the ground, and both of them I won't take credit for. Oh yeah, I was on the ground and I was sneaky. No, I got freaking lucky that they didn't. That they walked into me just as much as I walked into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My biggest, I was actually, we went down home, and my wife's uncle and aunt was having a 50th wedding anniversary, and I was like, it was hot. It was early October, and so I wasn't seeing much, and I was like, I'll go out of here early, and I was in my ground blind, walked out, and got to outside edge of the tree road, and here he comes walking down the edge of it. Dumb luck, I guess.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes is luck. And I would say 90% of us hunters just get lucky.
Yeah.
I would rather.
They say deer hunting is 95% luck and 5% skill.
Yeah. It is. There's been a lot of times when it's like, how the hell did I even kill that deer?
Down here where I live, I think it's the opposite of what you said. I think it's 95% skill and 5% luck.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't have trees. I got mesquite bushes down here where I live. I live in southeast New Mexico,
Yeah.
and it's mesquite bushes and gyp hills and sand hills, and this past January I killed a deer because we can hunt. You can used to. If you drew out deer with bow, you could hunt early season, which is September. And if you didn't kill a deer in September, you got to hunt January. But now they split it up. You have to either have to put in for September hunt or you have to put in for January hunt. And everybody likes to hunt January down here because that's whenever the deer are in the rut.
Gotcha.
And
That's crazy. It's that way.
So in January, I glassed this deer. He was in his bed, and I snuck up to him for 45 yards, and I sat there for 2.5 hours, and I waited for him to stand up.
Jeez.
And the
Unorthodox would have taken that shot.
just the adrenaline and everything going through me. Whenever he stood up, I missed.
Oh,
And
man.
He ran, and I ranged him where he stopped. It was 97 yards. I knocked another arrow. This is why I shoot long shots, practice long shots every day. He ran 97 yards, stopped, turned broadside, and I knocked another arrow while he was running. Like I said, whenever he stopped, I ranged him 97 yards. I rolled my sight down and flung one, and it went right behind the shoulder where it was supposed to go.
Nice.
And he ran 15 yards and killed over deader than a doornail. But
Jeez.
but like I said, down here is 95% skill and 5% luck.
There ain't no way I can shoot a deer 90 yards. There's no way I could shoot a deer 60 yards away. I just don't practice for it. I'm
in the environment too, though.
Yeah. Like
My family's originally from New Mexico, so I kind of know what he's talking about. Whenever you live in that area, you practice for that crap.
yeah.
and like I'm gonna be honest. I don't shoot whenever I'm practicing. I shoot one arrow at 20, one arrow at 30, one arrow at 40, one arrow at 50, and then I start shooting groups at 60 to, like, the way I have my bow set up, I can shoot 180. I can clear 180 on my sight. I shoot
Jeez.
I shoot up to I shoot up to 175. You know, just messing around, practicing
Holy shit.
to make them 90 to 20-yard shots, like a chip shot. 3 years ago, I shot an antelope at 115 yards.
Holy crap.
My mess around with shot is 90, and I just play with that. So everything else inside that is like you said, a chip shot. But 90 is what I fool around with.
So,
There ain't no way.
what's your arrow setup to be shooting that far and still be lethal? Like,
He's also got
I-
80 pounds, Drew.
I shoot a 80-pound PSC Expedite. I shoot a 27. I shoot a draw length of 30 inches. I shoot a 27-inch gold tip Black Label Quantum. I'm running a Podium titanium 75 grain outsert with a 100 grain field point, and my arrow weight comes out to like 446 grains, and I'm shooting that arrow at 345 feet a second.
Jesus.
Yeah, so he's in a different realm than any of us are.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's actually not that far off from me.
He's got the
Well,
magic
see,
30
you
inch
run
draw.
under IBO arrows, unorthodox.
No, I don't. I do not. I run right at IBO.
Right at IBO.
Going under is dangerous, so I flirt with the line.
Yeah, you're basically
See,
dry firing if you go under.
JB,
Whenever I put this bow together, because it originally came with it was originally 70 pounds, and I've always wanted an 80-pound bow, so I just ordered the limbs, and I shot XV arrows, and one time I just thought, I'm gonna flex one of these arrows just for the shits and giggles of it. I flexed it like 2 inches out of spine, and it blew up in my hand. And
So,
I thought,
I got
Wow.
I got a question
I
for
thought
you.
right there, I've always shot gold tip. I'm going to go back to gold tip. So now I'm shooting. I didn't have no tuning issues. I think just because how short my arrow is with a 30-inch draw, it's 27 and little over. It's like pretty much 27 and 5/8.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting a 300 spine arrow, and I did not have no tuning issues, no nothing.
Yeah.
But them XVs, after I pulled it out of a target, and I just thought I'm gonna flex it just to see what it does, and just like 2 inches out of flex, that sucker blew up in 4 pieces, and I pulled all of my outserts out, and I built the 300 spine arrows that I got now, and
Yeah.
now you know I cut them arrows down, and now my son shoots those arrows.
JD, is this
I
the
got,
guy?
real quick, Drew. Hold on one second. Rios, I got a question for you. Other than just wanting an 80-pound bow, because a 60-pound bow with the right setup will do the job on any animal in North America. Why do you feel you needed an 80-pound bow?
Because a typical shot down here, I want it to get there fast
Because of how far it is.
because how
Exactly.
far it is. Like I
Okay.
said, this year I shot that deer in January in 97 years.
Oh, muted.
Can you hear
Uh-oh.
me now? The year.
Yep.
Okay, so January I shot that deer in 97. Last January I shot one at 95, and then the year before that I shot one at 87. And I
Okay,
just
so it was just an environmentally based build.
Right.
That's why.
right,
Okay.
and you know how much a deer can move. I want that arrow to get
Oh,
there as
jeez.
fast as it could get there
Yeah.
before anything happens. That's the
I've
only
seen
reason
one
why.
Same freaking wavelengths. We're just doing it different ways.
20 yards.
Right, and that's the only reason why I went to 80-pound limbs, because I want my arrow to get there as fast as possible.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool
I
deal.
did the same thing this year with the gearhead. Is I picked up some 80-pound limbs, and I'm basically going to build a very similar setup to what you have.
So I saw your video and you're at your shoot, and you were running your that gearhead. How'd you like it?
I absolutely love the gearhead.
How do you feel about
I've
that
hunted
grip
with it
being
for
forward?
do what?
How do you feel about the grip being completely like off the riser?
I love it. I freaking
Okay.
love it. Now, I did replace that grip now because I don't like that particular grip. But the perk of it being off the riser, they have 3 options. They have their standard grip that has that real curvy handle that I don't really like. It feels like it's making you pistol grip the bow. So they have a flat back, and they have the one I just got, which is a flat back with 1911 grips on it. And that's what I just got is the 1911 grip, and I just put that one on there, and I'm waiting to get a new string because I messed up and made it cut its own string when I set it up. So I got to get a new string for it, but I hunted with that boat for a couple of years at 70 pounds, and now it's at 80. And oh my gosh, fast. 90% let off at 32 inches. And I was running 323 with it, out of a 70-pound bow. And I shot a deer at 43 yards with it, and I hit her. She tried to duck, and I hit her in the spine. And I didn't get a complete pass through, but I got half. I put half the arrow through her spine.
Okay. Drew, you were asking something earlier. What's up?
I don't even know what I said now.
Okay.
I'll remember it.
See, a couple years ago, whenever I shot that deer at 85 yards, I was just shooting 70 pounds, but I was shooting a 380 grain arrow at 300 and I think it was 320 feet a second. Whenever my shot broke, that deer was broadside. Well, before the arrow got there, he turned quartering away from me, and that arrow went into his. It would be his left rump, and the arrow it was a complete pass through. I don't know how it happened, but it come out his neck on the other side. I had a complete pass through, and the arrow hit the ground 10 yards on the other side of it.
All right, I appreciate the share, buddy. Thank you.
The farthest shot I've taken wasn't on a deer. It was on a big sow hog. And I shot her at 70 yards, and that bow I was running a 65-pound Elite E2 or MG32, and that was at 70 yards, and that was like a 320 grain arrow, and got a complete pass through broadside on a hog.
What I didn't ask you this earlier in Orthodox. What broadheads do you use?
So up until last year, my primary go-to, besides when I was testing different things here and there, was NAP Spitfires. But I switched to Grim Reaper Whitetail Specials this last year, which is basically just a beefed-up Spitfire. And yeah, I'm not switching back. That was impressive.
So, have you heard of Flying Arrow Archery?
No.
Well, they make a expandable and a fixed blade broadhead, and I'm gonna be trying some out probably next week. So,
Cool.
Good luck.
well, we'll see.
I was sponsored by them 2 years ago, and I will never use any of their products.
Or are we talking about FTO?
No, we're talking about Flying Arrow.
Oh.
FTO doesn't have any products.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All right, so I got everybody in here, and everybody knows that I used to shoot for Black Flag Archery and ran their broadheads. Well, I say that I've tested their broadheads. I haven't ever used them out in the field because I joined on with them in the off. Well, after doing some testing on them, I found some things I didn't like. The owner was not willing to change anything. He's kind of stuck in his ways, per se, and he's the owner. I can't argue with him on that. But I kind of signed a deal with them prematurely while I was waiting on another broadhead company that I've already been in cahoots with and talking with for the past year while they were in their production stage. But now they have actually officially released, and I have got my hands on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So without further ado, I'll go ahead and tell y'all. See if y'all can pronounce this name.
Tulu. Heard of them. Good broadheads.
It's Tulu. So
Okay, I'll be in there in a minute.
Tulu broadheads. They are based out of Tennessee. Everything's made here in America. He had options to get sourcing for manufacturing out in China and stuff like that, and he said basically fuck off. He kept everything in house. So because it is in house, and Seth can vouch for me on this, manufacturing in USA is very, very, very expensive. So because of that, broadheads are kind of expensive. They cost more. A 3-pack costs more than an iron will. But as you can see, it kind of looks like an iron will, just based off the packaging. But there's a twist. And like I said, I've been in good for about a year. They're finally out. They're finally available, and we'll go over them all and let y'all see what y'all think and the science behind it. We'll talk about all that. So in the package, you get this nice metal container.
Copy. Nice.
They look like iron wills.
They
So
do.
they look like iron wheels, right?
Yeah.
All right. So hold on a minute. So before I show you all this, the rest of this broadhead, does everybody in here understand what a single bevel broadhead does?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So a single bevel broadhead, when it makes impact, it's going to twist. Whether you get a left bevel or right bevel depends on which rotation it twists. You always need to match the single bevel twist with how your arrow clocks. Especially on the broadhead. Now, your vanes, I know there's a lot of back and forth of does right flex matter or right helical matter versus left helical. I know there's a big controversy on that. I always match my helical on my vane and my broadhead or my single bevel with how the arrow naturally comes off the string. Like if I'm running ABB strings, everything's going to be to the right. If I'm running any other boat company string out there, it's going to come off to the left. So I always get a left helical, the left, single bevel broadhead. These broadheads are a little different.
Are they sharp?
Oh yeah, they're sharp. So again, it just looks like a single bevel. These are a right bevel because my new bow I'm getting, I haven't told you all that yet either, but I'm getting another new bow, and it's going to have ABB strings on it. The new, the Launch Series strings, the $220 strings.
I just ordered some of them for my target bow.
Yeah, so I just ordered some of them for my new bow that's coming, and those ABB runs right. So I got a right bevel head, but hopefully the video can show this.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Oh, hello.
There is a helical broadhead.
Oh, look at that. You know what is really super interesting? I like to find arrowheads, like Native American artifacts, like arrowheads,
Yeah.
I actually found 3 arrowheads in this same area with a twist just like that. The
So-
dude that freaking made that broadhead knew what the hell he was doing.
So his name is Trevor. He lives in Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee. Y'all can look him up on Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. He actually said he was going to be downloading TikTok tonight just to be able to get on here with us. So I don't know if he's in here listening, maybe, who knows. So some of the science behind this is, in my theory, in my way of thinking, as far as the arrow paradox, okay? If you're coming off the bow spinning right, if you're using ABB strings, or even left. If you want to just talk about left, we can talk about left. But these are right, so I'm going to talk about right. If my arrow's spinning right, and I'm running a right helical on my vanes, the back of the arrow is what's trying to correct the flight of the broadhead, right?
Correct.
Now I have correction on both ends because this is helping with that helical. This is going to aid in flight characteristics. And not only that, everybody knows the S cut that you get with a rotational single bevel head. So my theory is this is going to aid in flight both the front and the rear of the arrow, and it's going to aid in penetration because when it hits, it's giving more rotation because it's got the helical. And like I said, these are available in both left and right helical. They're available right now. They're available in 100 grain. In the next few months, he will be doing a 125, 150, and 175. They are one-piece solid construction S7 tool steel. Now, the black coating that's on them, a lot of other broadhead companies I know that have a black coating uses basically a powder coating process, a electric, coating. These are electric-less nickel coated. So any of the pores that's in the metal itself that you can't get rid of, pores, it actually infuses into the metal because it's electric-less and it doesn't have that barrier of electrons between the metal and the coating. So he says that they actually gained, when they were building these, they actually gained 3 points of Rockwell hardness just by coating. And I've had different coated broadheads before that the coating will actually rub off or flake off or crack off. This, you have to basically take a sand or two to get it off. They got a Rockwell hardness of 55, and I think the toughest broadhead I've ever seen before this had a Rockwell hardness of 50, and that was from a VPA. And y'all know, if you know me for a while, I used to run nothing but VPA broadheads. They're made right there in Indiana. But since I got in contact with these guys, like I said, I've been waiting a year for these to come out, and I finally got on board with them. And this is the head I will be running because I'm a fixed blade guy. I'm a single bevel guy, and this can only help in flight and penetration as long as you match your helical the correct way.
So do they make a right and a left?
They offer both right and left. Yes.
Well, I may have to look into those because I have not bought broadheads yet for my traditional bow, and it looks like it would be as hell out of that bow.
So definitely give them a look. Like I said, it's Toulou, Toulou. The name actually came from a river that he used to hunt on with his grandfather way back in the day, and where he killed his first buck at. So that's where the name came from. So it's just one guy. He doesn't have a team. It's just one guy doing it all.
Wow.
So I'm going to support that 100%.
No kid. Now, see, what is I've always heard bad stories about two-blade broadheads, going through, and you don't have that like third blade or fourth blade to help open that wound up, and it'll close up.
Yeah. Now I have had that same problem too on a lot of double bevel, two-blade broadheads. But with a single bevel, if you, as much as I hate to say this, watch Rancher. He does a video on the single bevel, and he actually just takes the arrow and just pushes it down through a potato. Because of the single bevel design, it has to rotate because it's following the sharpness as it's cutting. So it actually makes an S cut. And if you actually look at the wound channel on a single bevel, it will be in the shape of an S. So it's rotating as it's going through. And he was in his testing videos, he was getting a complete 180 and 12 inches of penetration.
Wow.
So you're not going to have that, just slit basically. It's going to be a hole that is rotating.
Yeah, that's through the cavity. I mean, that's not entrance enough.
Do what now?
I said that's through the cavity. Your 180.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
You're talking.
So you still have a slit cut going through the hide.
On the entry you will, and on the exit you'll have a slit, but it will be as it's tearing through skin and muscle tissue. It's going to be tearing that. So it's not just going to be a perfect little scissor cut or razor blade cut. It's going to be torn, so it's going to have less chance of it actually closing up.
So
I got some pictures and stuff from all of this on live critters and stuff like that I'll send to you.
I'm huge on cut impacts, and that's what those things are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
I
more.
won't ever shoot another broadhead unless it's cut on impact.
It's a more humane kill. Honestly, it is. If you used a fixed broadhead, it's more humane kill on the animal because 9 times, there's been a lot of times where I've thought a lot of the does that I've shot actually ducked the arrow because of the way they acted after they hit. They act like they're not even hit.
Yeah, and that's the beauty part of a small fixed blade. Like the Q80 Exodus is a great example. I've shot and had so many full pass-throughs on Q80 Exodus, and that's a great head. And then because of how small it is, I've had does that I've shot, and they will literally just stand there because they don't realize what just happened. And then, 3 seconds later, they're falling over.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people, will talk about, what about blood trails? Look, you can shoot an animal in the heart 6 times, and 7 of those 6 times it's going to bleed different.
Right.
Everybody gets hung up on the blood trail thing. Quit. Because it's not going to be the same at any given time. I understand a 3-blade will open it up more. I get that. I get all that. But if you do your due diligence and practice and tune your bow properly and actually make a great shot instead of worrying about the accidental bone shot, don't make that shot. Fix the problem, and make a correct and good and ethical shot, and you won't have to worry about it.
That's
Absolutely.
my opinion on when people get on me. Oh, that's too live an arrow. What if you get a bone? Why am I aiming for a bone?
You got to have 33 or 35% FOC with a 1,000-grain arrow for a bone shot. Why are you aiming at bone? Why are you building your setup for a bone shot?
Shot placement.
If I'm truly worried about a bone, it's called a 308.
Exactly. And if you take a pew and if you hit the deer in the brachial plexus, aka the scapula, in the brachial plexus, there's actually a nervous system that runs straight through the spinal column. And if you hit the brachial plexus with a pew, that deer will drop down.
Yep. I do it on purpose.
But I said on purpose with a pew. That's exactly where I aim. But with a bow, we're not doing that. We're not aiming for bone.
Hey, that's like me down here. Everybody shoots a 500 grain arrow or better. I shoot a 440 grain arrow. I'm shooting for shot placement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about pushing through bone.
Let's see here. Nate, I love the Exodus, and they live no reason to change. Hey, great. That's a great head. I'm not telling you to change.
And see, I shoot down here just because of like the way I think about it, like the drag that a fixed blade has. I shoot a 2-blade rage. I've shot it forever. Never had a problem with it.
Hold on. You're talking about the drag, the in-flight drag, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the in-flight drag is minimal in consideration to the kinetic energy drag or kinetic energy loss you have trying to open a mechanical.
Right, but like my bow shoots so fast and so hard. I've never had a problem with it. I've shot an elk with an expandable broadhead, a two-blade expandable broadhead, and had a complete pass through it.
No, I'm not saying your setup won't work. I'm just saying for us, regular folks,
Right.
if we're shooting
You know-
under 280, we need to be in a fixed blade.
Rios, you are my
right.
new favorite person. We are on the same freaking wavelength with this shit. I love it.
Yeah, y'all two are just whatever. But for me, at my speeds, I don't want to be having a chance of losing that much kinetic energy. So I run a fixed blade. I am also a pocket shooter versus a lung shooter. So because of that, I run a fixed blade because there's less chance of it, deflecting or anything like that. But it's just, again, each person is going to be different. I'm not
Right,
saying
and that's-
anybody's right or anybody's wrong.
And that's
In you and Unorthodox's defense, I will say a fixed blade going that fast is harder to tune.
right, and that's totally understandable, and that's why I shoot a rage. This January, like y'all remember hearing me say that I missed that deer at 42 yards. I decided to try a new broadhead, and it was the G5 Mega Meat. And my bow shot so hard that the broadhead opened up and
Yeah,
flat.
it opened up. Yeah,
I had that problem too.
that's
I
the only
I
time
tried
I'll
that.
allow- That's the only time I'll allow an archer to blame the equipment when they miss a deer is because they're running a mechanical with a clip retention system that will mess up if you're shooting so fast.
Right. So that deer, like I said
It's
earlier,
impossible.
he ran to 97 yards, and I pulled the arrow out of the back of my quiver, which was a rage, and rolled my sight tape down to 97 yards and sent one right behind his shoulder. But I couldn't. it
Nate
couldn't
was
hit him
saying
at-
here, my Exodus tuned fine at 80 at 286. I understand that, but what I'm talking about is like when you start getting into the bigger, especially a lot of the fixed blades are bigger than Exodus. Exodus is actually kind of on the small spectrum of the cutting diameter. When you get into a bigger one, shooting anything over 280, close to that 300 mark, is a bigger fixed blade will actually be really hard to tune up.
And we're both running 330, 340.
Yeah. So you guys
Now,
are mechanicals all day long.
You can, even at these speeds, tune a fixed blade broadhead.
Hold on. Here he is. Chest Thumper, what's going on, buddy? I ain't seen you in a minute. How you been?
Hey, Chesty.
Hello. Chest Thumper Outdoors, you with us? Oh, maybe thinking about it. Who knows? All right, Nimrod 270 290 is good to fix. It's faster, it's harder to tune, but possible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If your bow's tuned properly, you can get just about any broadhead to flight all the way as far as you want.
No, Chest Thumper, we can't hear you.
See, and I tried a fixed blade. With my setup, shooting as fast as it is, and I could not get that damn thing to tune whatsoever. So I went back to my old faithful two-blade Rage broadhead.
Now, another argument that I heard people talking about. He was in the live. It was being kind of quiet. Thor down there at the bottom wasn't really an argument, but he's a mechanical guy, and kudos to him. Mechanical, whatever. That's cool. But what I was trying to get him to understand is because he's in that mindset of I just want to screw it on and go. Well, if you actually take the time and still fixed blade tune your bow and then go and shoot a mechanical, you'll be that much more accurate. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're 100% right.
Okay. I still,
But you know,
I'm
like-
one of those. I've got 3 of them here. I will take. Have y'all ever seen the Swacker, the 252, that 2-inch fixed blade mechanic or fixed blade head?
I don't think I've ever seen that
It's
one.
this daggone big. It's huge.
Yeah.
But I will use that one and tune my bow with, and then any other broadhead I use that's smaller, I don't have to worry about it.
Hey JB, you ever heard of Quinn Gillingham? Can't remember what video it is, where he talks about Jim Bath and speed.
You talking about? Wait, hold on. When Tim Gillingham talks about what now?
They were talking about like speed, like hunting setups and stuff, and he references Jim Bath in a
Yeah.
video. So Jim Bath's from Manhattan, Kansas, and that's who taught me. I used to work in his shop.
Okay.
So he
Cool. Yeah, I've done a few podcasts with Tim. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. So back in the day, I mocked his setup. I have a short draw, 28 inches. That guy, he's got grill arms like most of you. Back before,
He's an orangutan.
yeah, back before 300 was really a thing. He was shooting 360 feet a second.
Jesus.
Yeah, but he's also, he's got a 32.5-inch draw. And he's also running a 4-inch overdraw so he can get that arrow as short and as light as possible.
Yeah. So my first speed bow was a old Pearson mag with a 4-inch overdraw, and I used to shoot a 3L18 ACC with a 57 grain rocket broadhead, and those broadheads would fit in the shaft perfectly. So I didn't use an insert; I just straight epoxied those into the shaft.
Mm-hmm.
And at 27 inches, at 73 pounds, I was shooting 333.
Yeah. Chest thumper, have you tried coming out or getting out and then back in again? We can't hear you, buddy. I'm sorry. I really, I'm glad that you're in here. I would love to hear what you have to say on this topic. Chest thumper, Trenton, another great guy. I've known him for a while.
I would like to say, because after hearing you talk, JD, about setting your bow up, you remember I was one of them where I was wanting to set my bow up to go through a bone for that in case instance, like if I accidentally hit the shoulder. But honestly, thinking about it, why would you want to even put that in your mind? Because a lot of shooting a bow is mental. And so I guess if I'm constantly thinking about that damn shoulder.
Hold on a minute. What happened to your face? Hey, I kind of did the same thing. I lost my beard, and no one said anything about it yet. But I got to say something about yours. Yours, you went from here to nothing. Hey, what's going on, buddy? How you been? Barely.
I have no idea why this mic is not working.
Okay, yeah, all right. You're a little bit better. How's your shot coming?
Yell at the phone. I've got a shot. I can figure something out.
What in the world are we watching?
He's in his PJs.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I feel like I'm going to see something illicit.
Hear me better now?
Yeah.
The case.
He's alive.
You shouldn't not.
Really? Okay, there we go.
Better?
Yeah, a lot better.
You're not going to see something you shouldn't see. I charge people for that.
Only
okay.
fans.
Chest thumper's
That's how I'm starting the archery shop.
Feetpick.org.
Yeah, feet pick. We'll go with feet pick.
Feet finder.
So what's up, man? I'm gonna turn my radio down. I haven't talked to you in a while. I love you to death. What's going on?
Nothing, man. Working my ass off.
There you go.
All I do is work.
I feel that.
I see
So-
you got a tethered hat.
You're in the middle of a broadhead debate, so I figured you had something to add because you are still to date one of the best broadhead reviewers I know.
The professor just walked in.
Yeah, you still okay? More testing for 2024. Okay.
Oh boy. Was those the Grim Reapers I just saw?
Whitetail specials, yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
I used those last year. They're great.
I'm interested in the Grim Reapers.
I've already done the whitetail specials on my YouTube and I think on TikTok. I'm going to start doing a new series this year where I compare broadheads head to head, so I bought them for that.
So, will you invest in some of these?
What are they?
The new ones I just switched to, the Tulus,
The Tulas? What are they priced at?
130 for a 3-pack.
Okay, so they're a premium.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me show you this real quick. I don't know if you saw it earlier.
I've seen those before. Those are the ones that have the kind of the weird twist to them. Yeah.
Yep. And you can get it in both the right and left, depending on which way your arrow comes out.
Have you shot them into a target or anything yet?
Not yet. I just got them out of the package while we were on here.
Okay. So I'm curious. Every single bevel I've ever put my hands on or designed or had any part of, you can't get them to rotate more than about 30 degrees max. So I'm curious to see if those rotate any further.
So, according to his website, and according to I know the medium is not an exact represent whatever I'm trying to say.
Yep.
The gel block, it's not exact,
No.
to a deer, and I get it.
But
But
it's consistent.
he did get in 12 inches, he did get a 180 twist.
That's pretty damn impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, everything I've shot in a ballistic shell, I've never seen more than about 30 degrees. And actually, it's interesting. If you're looking for just a rotational wound channel, you're better off using a broadhead with offset blades than you are using a single bevel. The broadhead with offset blades rotate just as much. So if you're only worried about the rotational wound channel, just pick up something with offset blades. Now, if you want it for the bone shearing ability, then yeah, single bevel's not going to be beaten.
Gotcha. So another test video that I saw him do was we've all seen, broadhead destruction videos where they try and just put them up against a center block at 10 feet and see what happens.
Yep.
Lusk Archery, great guy, love the guy to death, but that's a lot of what he does is just destruction videos.
Right.
I've seen some broadheads, especially single bevels, at that close distance will actually stick into the center block.
Yeah.
Now, everybody in here knows at 100 yards, you lose a lot of your velocity and momentum with that arrow.
Yeah. I mean, you lose quite a bit. Heavy arrows tend to hold their momentum better, but then you're sacrificing trajectory.
So one of the videos he actually did on his Instagram was a 100-yard center block, and it stuck in the center block at a half inch.
Solid.
At 100 yards. That is insane.
JD, Q asked a pretty good question. How do you sharpen them?
Same way you do any single bevel. Put it on a flat stone and just take the time and keep the same angle retention. Unless you have an angle retention jig. But this one, because it is twisted, does have two separate angles. The very front tip that has the helical twist on it is a 31 degree, and the back side of the blade is a 45 degree. So just take your time with this one, and I would just hand sharpen it, not even try and put it in a jig.
He did the back of them at 45.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Or maybe flipped. It may be flipped around, but he did tell me it was a 31 and a 45. So I would have to actually sit there and look at it and tell you which one it is.
It's not a huge deal. The only reason, I would probably say that's flip-flopped, and the reason why is that the shallower edge is going to have way more durability and edge retention than the steeper edge.
Okay, you're right. It is flopped. Yeah, the front edge is a 45, the back is a 31.
Yeah, which makes sense. The downside, and of course I've not played with those or seen them or used them or anything, but just looking at the design, the only downside I see to them is that because of how shallow that peak is on front, your initial penetration is going to be chopping more than cutting. But, you know, the thing about broadhead design is you're talking like 0.5%, 1%. You're not talking 30-40% difference in the way those designs matter. So for guys like us, and I'm guessing most of us in here, are shooting, you know, modern compound bow, 28-ish in that range, draw length, 70-ish, 60, 70 pounds. So when you take a modern setup and look at broadhead designs, that 1 or 2% really ultimately isn't going to matter. When it starts to matter is like traditional archery equipment. So it's one of those things that, like, for what we're doing, when you get to like that axe style tip, it doesn't matter. Now, if you were going to shoot that out of a trad bow, not to say you couldn't, I would just potentially look at something that's less extreme, something a little bit more.
Nimrod, to answer that question, I honestly don't have that answer, buddy. I'm not sure. I'd have to get with Trevor on that. He's been in production for 2 years before he released them, so I'm sure he's gotten it worked out. But I don't have an exact answer for you on that, buddy. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of curious. I'd love to see that patent, because before Iron Will ever existed, there was a bunch of companies using a Tonto tip broadhead. So I'm not super familiar with the patent process, but I believe you can't patent something that's in common use already. And I don't think he'd be able to get a patent, or at least enforce a patent.
Yes, you cannot patent something that is common use, common knowledge.
Oh, wait. Hey, hold on. I got to introduce y'all to Chest Thumper Outdoors, Panther Platform. Chest Thumper, you do a lot of reviews. Go check him out. PantherQuickClimb.com. Go look at it.
Is that the saddle platform that's kind of like a climber base?
It is a climber.
Okay. Familiar.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Cool. Yeah, but the patent process, you can't patent something that's common knowledge.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, dude, I'm a super nerd for like mobile hunting too, a big saddle guy and all that stuff. So if it's what I believe it is, yeah, I think I've seen it. It's basically just a smaller climbing platform, but built for saddle hunting.
It's called the Quick Climber.
Yeah.
Well, smaller is not really the key word. It's 19 by 10.
Okay, so it's still pretty good size.
Mm-hmm. And only weighs 6.5 pounds.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
And it will lift up the back end of a Ford 250 heavy duty truck.
I'll put a video on that, 1,000 pounds.
I like that. So, yeah, that's what I thought. But I'm going to have to check that out, Nimrod, and get that patent number and look it up. Because I would imagine the only way he could get that patent maybe has to do with the particular angles he's using, which, I mean, that dude's smart as hell. Like, Bill, the guy that invented Iron Will,
Bill. Yeah.
Freaking criminy, he's a genius. And he does a lot of really deep scientific and testing and engineering and all that stuff that I have a deep appreciation for. That's way over my head. Nate, I don't have necessarily a top 5. What I can give you is top 5 broadheads I recommend most other people. So Muzzy Trocar, QAD Exodus, Afflictor K2 Fixed. Let's see, what else can I throw in there?
Hey, by the way, I've still got all those broadheads you sent me to test out.
Do you?
I still got them. And the Trocars and that other knockoff brand Trocar, I can't remember which one that one was, but it was the exact same thing as a Trocar. Both of those got put to work last season, and they worked great.
Good. Yeah, the knockoff Trocars.
Chester, have you ever tested Magnus?
Which ones?
All of them.
I've done buzz cuts and black hornets. Not the Sir Razor version. That's all I've done so far. I want to get my hands on some of their single bevels and compare them. Like, that blade design and profile has been done several times. So one of my competition videos, I want to get several of those like broadheads that look just like that and compare them all to one another.
Yeah, man. Look at the original Bear broadhead.
The like old school, or the remake they just did.
Old school.
Some of my favorite broadheads.
Yeah, they're great heads.
I would like to find 4 of them and build an epoxy clock and use them as the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, Nimrod, Bill does have like the financial backing for sure if it is a problem. So, and the archery industry is a interesting animal. It was like Beaumart doing Slick Trick over the Torch, because their beast broadheads use a similar like mechanical or spring.
Yep.
Yeah, but the problem with that is VIPs used a system like that for a long time. It's just external instead of internal. And then the Beaumart's thing is they use a ball bearing in their system, but Zeus Broadheads has used a ball bearing and spring inside their broadheads for 4 or 5 years now. So I'm kind of curious where, like, how that's all going to shake out.
So what do you think about those new G5 T2s, the remake of a Rage Hypodermic?
Those?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've not shot them in anything yet. They literally just showed up today. I can tell you this, with shipping and tax, it was $80 for this pack.
Woo.
So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that for a mechanical. They feel like they're decent quality. The tips on a couple of them are a little rolled, but they'll clean up them. Yeah, it's like the very tip, and it's super typical of those really sharp-pointed broadheads. Like that tip just barely rolls. The retention system worries me a little bit. It's pretty stiff, so I think.
Oh, that little that little knob they got in there.
Yeah. So it's pretty stiff, and I'm curious as to like if people are gonna have opening issues if they're shooting too low energy. Thought on the G5 Megameat, I don't like the G5 Megameat. It is sharp out of the package. I like that, but the blades are not durable at all. And if you're gonna shoot a Megameat, I would say just switch and shoot the dead meat instead. The blades are more durable. They're just as sharp, if not sharper, and an 1.5 inch cutting diameter is still more than enough to get it done.
Yeah, and you're losing less kinetic energy dump by going to the smaller cut.
Correct. So Sever is an interesting broadhead that a lot of people put in their top 2 for mechanicals, and I'm just not that they're bad. I don't think they're as good as everyone makes them out to be. I don't think they're any better than most other 2-blade 2-inch mechanicals out there. And then to finish up on the top 5 broadheads I recommend, after those 3, I'd probably go to like a Kudu Contour Plus and maybe a Simmons Mako.
Yeah, that Kudu you sent me, that was awesome. That one went through that one broadhead, because you only sent me one, but that one Kudu went through 4 deer.
Yeah, so those Kudus are pricey, but they're super worth it. They're very, very good broadhead, and it's a small company. And I tend to like small companies a lot.
Yeah.
Kudu
Another reason why I've been sticking with these guys for the past year of their production, before they came out.
Yeah.
I've been switching different broadhead companies, but I've been having these guys on the back burner just waiting for my chance.
I'll always play around and switch different broadheads. I'm in process of building one out myself, and I'll still, with my own broadhead, I'll still have others in the quiver.
Oh yeah.
I just like to tinker. But yeah, the broadhead market is insanely crowded. To give you an idea, I think I'm near 100 broadhead videos, like tested on video. More than that I've actually tested not on video, and I bet you I'm still not 20% away or 20% through like everything that's available out there.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever run out of content material.
No. Which is fine. But what's interesting, there's very few companies doing something.
But what's interesting?
Different.
There's very few companies doing something. But what's interesting? Different. There's very few companies.
It was interesting.
If that's how I sound, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I muted him real quick.
Yeah, man. The like this video, for example, here, I'll give you a really great example. So there's the T5, which is a 2-blade, like 2-inch. There's the Trypan NC, which looks an awful lot like the T5.
Sure does.
There's the B3 XO2, which or RD2, which looks a lot like the other ones. And then you pick up a Severin, it looks really similar. Like, there's a whole lot of broadheads out there that are just doing the same thing. So it does kind of get boring, for lack of a better term, because it's all, like, a lot of it's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons why I was so excited about the Tulu is, you know, I haven't found another fixed blade out there that has that twist.
Nope. It's the only one that's got it for sure.
Yep.
And
so how do you feel about do you think the science behind it? Because as long as you match up the front helical and the rear helical, it will actually give you a corrective stability quicker than just having a helical on the back end of the arrow?
So I've obviously not looked into the Tulua, or however you pronounce it, broadheads a ton. But that, I mean, that makes sense. Anytime you put a broadhead on the front, it's just another steering apparatus. That's why it's so important to have adequate sized vanes on the back, or like a lot of the reason guys like the high FOC is because you don't have to worry about steering the broadhead as much.
Right.
If you can get the arrow shaft to tune out. So it would make sense that as long as you're matching things, it's going to help steer the arrow. And that's the same with any other single bevel. Like, if you're shooting a single bevel, you need to match the bevel with the fletchings.
Yep.
And if you slow it down, you can see it take extra time to fight that single bevel to rotate.
Okay.
But so a lot of people talk about like natural rotation of the arrow, like coming off with no fletchings. If you slow that down, and so say it rotates left coming off and you put right fletchings on, if you slow that down, there's no difference in the speed in which it starts to rotate. But if you put a left bevel broadhead on the arrow, there is. And the reason why is the rotation of the shaft coming off the string has to do with the way the string's twisted, but there's no steering happening. Whereas with the broadhead, there's steering happening. So you have to fight the steering.
Gotcha. And that's what kind of led me to thinking that because it is helical, it can only aid in the steering.
Yeah, if there's a big caveat there though. Like, if your broadhead, if your bow is tuned.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
If you the top 5 broadheads I recommend for people are fixed blades, and that's because I find more often than not they're gonna have a higher likelihood of success with a fixed blade. Just because if you gut shoot a deer with a fixed blade, it'll still die. And then if you shoot a deer in the shoulder with a fixed blade, you got a better chance of getting through. So you've got more margin of error.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for somebody that's new, just starting out, they don't know which way they tend to shoot.
And I learned that from you, being, the pocket shooter, versus, a lung shooter. And that's why I switched to fixed blade. And I learned that from you.
Yeah, man. I mean, broadheads are not broadheads aren't a super difficult subject. Like, I think a lot of times we overthink it. Generally speaking, anything on the market is going to do exactly what you need it to do if you do your part. But when you want to start talking about,
will do it if you do your part.
Correct, you have to do your part.
That's the important part, because just about any broadhead on the market goes through a deer's lungs or even its heart. They don't have a tendency to go very far.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's spot on. So, like, you do your part, it'll do its part, everything works out. The trouble you run in, it's not a trouble. That's the wrong phraseology. The way I look at it is ultimately you need to be super confident in your equipment. So that's when those little things start to matter. Like, for example, you tend to shoot closer to the shoulder. You're going to be more confident in something that's going to get through the shoulder if you hit it. So a fixed blade's going to make a difference in your confidence in the woods, not necessarily in the actual lethality of the setup you're shooting. So I have a very good friend who is quit chewing on my laptop.
Hold on, back up a minute. Did you say phraseology?
Phraseology, yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, it was on my calendar today.
That's the only
It's
reason you
not.
remember.
It is now.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
took me like
great
10
word.
minutes to pronounce it.
There you go.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna start using it now.
I
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Phraseology,
Yeah, I'm gonna start using it.
great word.
Hey, phraseology outdoors. New name.
But yeah, so like I've got a really good friend who tends to shoot deer back. He shoots rage and always has shot rage, and he's actually the one that kind of turned me on to the idea of like picking your broadhead based on where you shoot a deer or tend to shoot a deer more. Because
Bluestone
it's
Outfitters,
kind of
we
been-
do all a little bit of both. We do competition and hunting. We do a little bit of both. Most of us in here.
I might shoot a 3D event twice a year. I predominantly hunt, and if I could figure out how to hunt year round, I'd never shoot another 3D competition.
I haven't shot a 3D competition in 15 years.
Unorthodox runs one.
I run a 3D archery organization, but it is not about archery. It is 100% about hunting. It's 3D, but it's
different.
it's not about a target game.
And I am super interested in unorthodox 3D shoot. You're about to get me back into 3D shooting.
Okay, I'll be back with a prop.
So, I traveled all over the country last year with the 3D archery organization, and still probably only shot 25 to anywhere between 25 and 40 targets.
And I'll have you know, butthole, the first one that I went to was when you left.
Yes. Dude, I had to make really hard decisions because the most fun I've ever had in my life probably was traveling around with them guys. I love all those guys to death, and I got to see the whole country, and it was amazing. But my business, my brand suffered so bad because I was always on the road. I was gone 18 days a month.
Wow.
And you're gone, and it's like I was home for 3 days and then I was gone for 10 days. I was home for 3 days and I was gone for 7 days.
Sounds like me.
Consistent even. And then most of the time gone was driving. So it's not like I could even be productive.
Yeah. I'm only home 1 day a week now, so I get it.
Yeah, and that's this job I have now. It's the same way, dude. I'm working 12-hour shifts every single day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I'm sleeping 3 hours a night if I'm lucky, just so I can get shit done. Hey, look.
Okay, so this is not one of the good deer. This is literally just pulled this out of the scrap pile behind my house. So this is our scoring for broadside. This one, I will admit, we drew it a little bit too far back, but it should be up here. That's why it's in the scrap pile. But still, show you. Approximate size and location of the heart would be your 15. Your double lung here is your 12. Your single vital sliver of the liver is worth 10 points. Now here's the real kicker. Anything on our scoring format that hits outside of this vital package is -5, as in take 5 points away from you. I'm taking points.
I love that.
I do too. That
But
is
wait,
awesome.
there's more. And if you miss, it's just a 0. When he quarters away from you, the score range changed. So now you got to hit back here at about, when he's 45 away from you, at about the bottom of the last rib to travel through the body cavity to get up here into the front of it. So your 15 is about right here. Your 10 and 12 have flipped over because now you're going in through the liver, out through the lung, and or the back of one lung and the front of the other. If you reach too far forward, that is now your 10 for a single lung. We then go farther for 60 degrees away, and then, we'll get controversial with it. We'll shoot a quarter and 2 you in the chest.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. 15, 12, and 10. So you can go through the neck over here and get this one offside lung. And That is TK scoring. We are working on stencils for that and everything like that. The scoring is from the scoring system is from our arch organization. We got one shoot left this year. If anybody wants to drive down to Oklahoma and shoot it, it's our world championship. And if you're only going to come make one of my events, the world championship's the one to make. Because all of the other events, I literally set up Saturday morning of the event because I have to bring all the freaking targets. World's at my house. I have time to build things.
What is the cost, the entry fee?
World, $45.
How much? 25?
$45 for the entry for World. And that's in Ada, Oklahoma, July 27th and 28th. Is when that one's going to be. The other thing that we do besides just those school rings, I'm setting these targets not in shots that I'm telling you should be taking. I am pushing that envelope. I am straight up sometimes setting unethical shots because whenever he's this freaking wide or even just looks like that, the average hunter doesn't get to I think he already pulled the trigger. He doesn't hear himself over here. If we think maybe he pulled the trigger. So we try and practice it on foam instead of flesh and blood. So that way, when he stops with his vitals in a gap this big at 40 yards, well, if you practice it all summer and you know you can thread that needle, pull the fucking trigger. He's a dead deer. And or if you practice it all summer and 4 out of the 5 times you shot, you blew up an arrow, you know you need to wait. And we lean around trees. We shoot out ground blinds. When elevation is available to be done safely, we shoot out of deer stands. And when we elevate, the score rings change for that too. Whenever you're shooting down like this, nope, the score rings will roll up onto the back of that deer. Things such like that.
That's awesome.
What's your max distance?
Our max distance right now is 40 yards, is the farthest we go. Now, we are looking at completely revamping what we're doing because we're not having a great turnout right now, and also we're not happy with what we're doing. We don't feel like we're teaching people good enough, so we're looking at a complete revampment and moving to where our farthest shots goes all the way to 60. Because I hear people say all the time, "Oh, well, I'd take a shot at a deer at 60." Okay, well, whenever it's just dudes watching dudes and we're going for a belt buckle, prove it.
Yeah. Is that the consistency? Like,
I'm not telling you should shoot at 60, but I hear a lot of people say they will. So let's practice it on foam instead of flesh and blood.
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, this guy right here in the big box, he's got one of the tightest daggone 60-yard groups I've ever seen.
Now, on that video, I will fully admit that's probably the best 60-yard group I've ever freaking shot.
Man, look, I'm just glad you didn't call me out because I couldn't get a group that tight at 60. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, buckles for world. Nate just had. We have belt buckles for the world championship, and it is no matter how many's in the class, we're giving out first, second, and third place. So if there's 3 people in the class, hey, look at there, you walk with the third place buckle. But hey, like I said, it doesn't matter how many people in the class. We got multiple classes. We got rangefinder class. We got an open class. We have a fixed fins class. One of my dad's favorite classes that we have is only out to 30 yards, and it's single pin. You don't get to move the sights. The single pin class is you have one pin that's fixed, and you're not allowed to move and place the touch with it. Because a lot of people, that's how they hunt. They have one pin in their sight. They don't intend to move it. They set it at about 25 yards, and when he walks in and stops at 30, well, I'll just hold a little bit high. Well, he's all the way in here at 15 yards, I'll hold a little bit lower. A lot of people hunt that way, so that's what that class is designed for. You got loads of kids classes, you got traditional classes, you even have a crossbow class. Somebody asked where this event's going to be at. It's in Ada, Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And You're saying that the turnout has not been as great as what you've expected?
We've had a down year this year.
Yeah, that's
Usually we average between 60 and 80 shooters at our non-championship events, and this year we averaged 35.
it's a
Do
freaking
you
cool
think that's-
concept. It's
Do you
it's
think that that's in any relation to the fact that there's been more 3D events across the U.S. this year?
That there it is due to a multitude of things. One, the economy sucks and gas is high. People ain't driving to shoot, and especially like
Thanks, Biden.
there's whenever in my state alone, within 3 hours of every single weekend this year, within 3 hours of me, there was an average of 4 events going on.
yeah, and I really freaking like what you guys are doing. It's super interesting. It's new. It's different, and man, it just seems like a lot of fun. It's not like a typical 3D shoot that you go to, and I really would enjoy to go to one.
I just wish I could make it to one. I'd be at all of them if I could.
How far south of Oklahoma City are you?
It takes me hour and 15 minutes to get to Oklahoma City.
All right, man. So you're about 5 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours from me. So.
Nate's 100% right. TAC and SHOT also took a lot of our shooters because SHOT is another event that started this year that's a whole lot like TAC. And it started here in Oklahoma, and out of their 5 events, 4 of them was on top of my events, and I only had 10 for the year, so there were 4 events that were gone. Plus, after you get done shooting a TAC event, most of the weekend off is shooting. It just, I feel like our numbers are down because we've been doing the same thing for 10, 15 years now. People are looking for something new, and we want to do something new. We're revamping it. One of the things that we're doing is instead of giving out all 3 buckles in every single class, we are dropping it to no. Hey, there's 1 buckle. If you want the belt buckle, you better be first. Nut up or shut up. But we're not taking away the awards because we're bringing them back awards that we did years ago that everybody likes and still asked about. One of the ones that we're bringing back is a bunch of different dog tags awards for the individual accomplishments that you make. The first time that you can come to my event and shoot over 300, hey, you know what? That's an accomplishment. I say 300 because that would be it. Averaging all 10s, you average killing everything on a 30 course. We're bringing back the clean kill tag, which is exactly what it sounds like. You made it through the entire 30 target course and you didn't wound or miss a single animal. I'm going to give you an award for that. We're going to bring back our perfect 12s or better tag, so you double titled or heart shot everything. I'm giving you an award for that. So that's kind of the direction we're moving on that. We're also going to narrow down some of our classes because right now we have like 14 classes. Hey, we don't need a fixed pins class anymore. It's not popular. Nobody but me really likes to hunt with fixed pins, it seems like. Everybody has a 3-pin slider or better, or a single pin slider, and so we're going to do away with the fixed pin class because it's out of date. You're more than welcome to shoot with a fixed pin, but somebody else, which I have no problem doing. I'll show up with fixed pins and beat you anyway.
TAC is going to kill small archery shoots.
It is.
That's going to hurt on us.
TAC and
I'm
other
with
like
you. I don't like that. I'm with you.
I enjoyed going to TAC. I went the last 2 years. It was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it was a whole lot of fun the first time. I went back this year and I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing the exact same course, and y'all moved the targets over 15 yards in either direction to make it slightly different. And instead of a ram up on top of that hill, you put a roe deer. Cool.
We started doing something new at our club 2 years ago. Get Western Challenge. It's kind of like an obstacle course. You pack. It's a timed event. So there's different exercises at each station, and then you got to turn around and after you get done doing your exercise, you got to do a 40, 50-yard shot at a, target.
That's cool.
It's for all the fitness overachievers, as I call it.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a novelty game that we would do that we call Buck Fever. You have 3 targets, all of them under 30 yards. But to play the game, you knock your bow, you run and touch the target and come back between each target. High score wins.
Yeah. On our year-end club shoot, we've got this, it's like half-inch angle iron, and there's like this big half-inch steel ball, and it's like zigzaws back and forth, and you drop that. We set out 5 targets, and I think it's roughly takes about 25 seconds for that steel ball to go through that little zigzag before it hits the end. But every time it goes to the end, you hear ting, ting, ting. And so you have basically 25 seconds to shoot 5 targets. And that sound gets to messing with you as you're, get your heart racing, like, oh crap, I'm running out of time. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
One of the shots that I'm doing this year, I'll tell you. So at World, I do a bunch of scenery stuff. And one of the shots I'm doing this year, I've got a standing raccoon target from Big Shot Archery. And I got a feeder that is rusted all to hell, and I need to replace, but it's still a 55-gallon drum. Yeah, I'm going to attach the raccoon upside down like he's robbing the feeder, and you got to shoot him off the bottom of the feeder.
Oh, that'd be cool.
There you go.
Did you get detailed with how you put up some targets? We were talking about that a couple days ago.
Yeah, I get detailed whenever I'm setting the shots. If he's not looking the right way that I want him to look, I will go get another target and put in there. Or if it's a buckshot, but he's not looking at me. Okay, 30 yards into the timber, if it's thin brush or out into the field, I'll put a doe standing out in the field that he's looking at the doe. So that way it makes sense why he's looking that way. I did last year and the year before, I had the big Delta grizzly bear that's up on the log. I took him off the log and put him on an elk, shoved an arrow through the vitals of an elk and made a blood trail from the back stake all the way to the elk. But then that grizzly bear is up on top of the elk roaring at you. You got to shoot him in the chest because he found your elk first.
Damn. This guy right here seems like he has a lot to say. What's going on? You're thinking about a lot.
Oh, well, like TAC killing those small shoots. The reason I say that is because TAC is just adding more and more events, and they were the first to do big novelty shoots. Since they were the first, they're now the biggest, and because they're the biggest, they have the ability to pump a shitload of money into advertising, which is going to keep them on top. Because name of the game in the archery world, period, is advertising. Marketing dollars equals dollars. And I mean, TAC also has a really, really good stratosphere for word of mouth advertising. You see, like, they have a whole Facebook group that's TAC shooters. It's like 2,800 members or some shit, and it's just people talking about TAC, right? When people go to TAC, they post a ton of pictures.
You going to TAC this year? You going to TAC this year? You going to TAC this year? How many times I've heard that?
What side are you running at TAC? What rain jacket did you bring this year? I heard it's going to rain. Blah 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 blah.
Dude, there's whole segments of YouTube that are just dedicated to guys talking about the best setup for TAC, which blows my mind. It's a 3D shoot. Take what you hunt with.
My best video on YouTube that's about 3D and not hunting is my videos at TAC.
Yep. Yeah, because if they've never been, they want to see it. If they have been, they want to relive it and try to go again. The thing that really helped TAC initially was FOMO, because they had too few events and not enough places, so people weren't getting in. And they're actually still having that problem this year with some of their events. So you combine that with the shooter numbers, and then that's going to draw vendors. So they always have a huge vendor area. And then names want to be there because that's where everybody else is. I mean, there's business deals struck at TAC in tents, right? So
yeah, I mean,
from like a creator
one of the biggest problems I have is all these small local shoots never have vendors.
Because So let me give you the backside of that, because I dealt with this a lot last year, right? How do you convince a vendor to come set up a booth and spend time and man hours when you can give them 30 shooters and maybe 10% of those guys will stop by and talk to them? Maybe, so that's 3. Of those 3 that stop by, maybe 1 will buy every other shoot. So how do you justify 10 hours to come set up a booth, to come hang out at a shoot, and do everything it needs to be to actually draw attention, when instead they could pay the money to go to TAC, guaranteed be in front of minimum 1,000 shooters.
Yeah.
And of those 1,000 shooters, because guys go to TAC to spend money. Like, it's not uncommon for people to roll in with a fat wallet.
I literally saw a guy show up without a bow.
Yep.
Bought bow, arrow, everything at the event like this year, went and zeroed it in, and then went and shot, sold it at the end of the weekend.
100%. Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Guys show up to TAC with the intention of spending money. I know a couple guys that go to TAC, they shoot one course, and then they literally just care about going and getting the vendor deal. It's no different than like a sporting
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah, see, like, it's no different than a sporting goods show.
Business cards. Hey, come try one of my events. Hey, come try one of my events. Hey, come try one of my events.
Exactly. So when you have TAC that has all those pieces kind of locked down, it's hard to justify getting vendors to your event, because no event is doing numbers as consistently in as many places as TAC is.
And that's why it's hurting the smaller shoots.
And that's why it's hurting the smaller shoots. And that's why I think it'll be the death of small shoots. Because eventually what you're going to have is guys that are doing shoots not because they're necessarily passionate about it, but because they've done it forever. And they get really tired of people showing up, of 10 guys showing up. We have a club probably an hour away from us that is pretty much like that now. It's about 10 old guys that have been doing it for 30, 40 years. And they're getting tired of 8 to 10 guys showing up at shoots, so they were talking about this being their last year.
So unorthodox, you know what you need to do? You just need to sell your targets to TAC and just sit down and collect money.
Yep.
No.
I need to get them to adopt TK score rings and just have them put it on their targets, and then I roll them the money.
Yep.
And I can retire at 25.
Your best bet is finding places to host and just doing that. Or selling packages for, like, hey, this is how we set up our events. Sell them like all the information.
That's what we're working on having, is a stencil, and this is how you can host. After you put them on your targets, this is how you can host wherever you're at. This is the pack, and spreading THE that away, and
Yeah.
we're working on having the stencils by next 3D season.
It's the only way you're going to be able to truly scale your business. And then, like, if you want your events to be better, I would say you should spend 60% of your time reaching out to vendors and offering free booth space where applicable. Like, if you got room, just say, dude, come set up a booth that costs you $0.00. So if you sell one thing, you're probably ahead depending on their location.
Drew was asking a question on thoughts on the ATA show. So, different trade shows, ATA, Deer Expo, all those different trade shows that I've gone to. In my opinion, it's turning into a flea market.
ATA.
ATA is not?
ATA is not bad. Every now and again, you'll have somebody slip through the cracks. But most of, like, your consumer shows are definitely flea markets. The problem is ATA is so exclusive. It's dying.
Okay.
ATA.
I've never been to ATA. I'm going to try and go this next year.
Dude, I'll tell you what. It's very interesting because it's a super cool show, and it's the type of guys like us. It's the type of guys that are like diehard archery nerds that love the new stuff, that love everything about it. It is the 1% of the hunting community that goes to that show. So it's really cool to sit and be with, like, your people, truly your people. The
So
downside,
what about next weekend's show, the Mobile Hunter Expo? What do you think about that?
that's a show. So it's very interesting. That's a different kind of show because that's a consumer-driven show. People go to that to set up booths to sell to consumers. So it does narrow down the type of hunter there typically, but you're also still going to have the type of guy that walks 40 yards to a tree stand, that's going to stroll through there. Now, the nice thing about the Mobile Hunter Show is they are very, very, very particular about who they sell a booth to. So they're not going to have a gutter system in there. They're not going to have Zen. They're not going to have Joe Blow, the China knife seller, in there.
Boats and tractors and yeah.
They're going to have specifically the type of equipment we actually care about.
Gotcha.
So that's a show like definitely worth the trip. I was supposed to go to Michigan this year and try to request it off for work and got told we don't think you need that time off.
Okay.
Yeah. So
for family, I can go, hey, Aunt, no. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be here. Bye.
So that was the determining factor of me deciding this job was temporary until my business is back to where it needs to be. But yeah, the Mobile Hunter Show is what we all wish shows would be. It's,
okay.
Like if you go to one consumer show every year, go to that one.
Was supposed to be going. I'm not sure if they're still kicking the idea around or not. I will be going to that one. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's the one show that, like, if you're going to go to one show a year that's consumer, go to that one.
Okay.
As far as ATA goes, you know, it's like I said, it's dying because back in the heyday of ATA, it wasn't uncommon for a bow company to go in there and write $100,000 in orders. For arrow companies to write $300,000 in orders in a weekend. And what you're running into now is like Victory's writing $100,000 of arrow orders in a weekend. So they're down, 66% basically over what the heyday used to be. And then you have companies, there's no consistent bow releases. Everything used to be released in January, everything. Yep. And it was released at the ATA show and it was a huge deal. Now, most bow companies don't go to ATA show. ATA has kind of priced themselves into oblivion also because for a small company, it doesn't make sense. A friend of mine owns a bow sight company. He was in Montana. It cost him $15,000 for the weekend. He wrote $950 in orders that weekend, maybe.
And I'm pretty sure because like the Deer Expo, I wanted to get a booth at the Deer Expo, for the podcast. And they were wanting to charge me $1,500 just for a little square.
Yep.
Which we looked at, but y'all are talking about expos, but back on TAC for a second. That's what they were charging for a little square booth at TAC.
Yep.
$1,500. Because we wanted to do, that's what we wanted to do this year was a booth, and they said $1,500. We were like, you know what? I think we'll just come shoot my bow and have a good time.
Yeah, it's the booth space. So, but like for a retail company, booth space at TAC pays for itself. The vast majority of people will sell more than $1,500 on stuff on that weekend. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so ATA is getting to the point where it's like for a small business to come in doesn't make sense financially. They're better to spend that money on marketing. For a big business to come in with social media and marketing as it is anyway, they're better off spending that money on social media marketing or product creation or anything like that. So you have the companies that have either been doing it all the time or you have mid-sized companies that are trying to bolster their dealer book coming to ATA. And more people are realizing that it doesn't make sense monetarily.
Right, and that's what we found was we were getting asked, and we still get asked, are you guys going to this show this year? Are you going to that show? Are you going to this show? And it's like, it just doesn't make sense. We're such a new company. It doesn't make sense financially. And YouTube does such a great job at promoting our product. And Facebook, you got all these other outlets, social outlets, that do such a great job at promoting yourself that you don't need them. Now, in the future, I could see it benefiting, like when sales start to drop, going there so that people can actually use our product. But like right now, it makes sense for me to, if somebody is seriously interested in it, I'll come to you and I'll let you try it personally.
So I have a question about that. Are you going to do, not to like compare you to Tethered, but you know how Tethered has the Grit series? Are you going to have like a dealer exclusive series where you can go somewhere and you specifically don't have to travel all over for people to try it?
Not at this time.
No, one thing that we are looking at doing is getting a group of like-minded businesses together, and it's a free event that you can come to on public land, and it's like national forests or the WMAs, places that you guys hunt in your state, and we'll provide free food, free drinks, and you can just come and try out sticks, platforms, not just my platform, but everybody's platforms, and learn about different methods, SRT, DRT, all that stuff. And I think it would be a good time to get together with people, have free food, free drinks, and actually meet the owners, the small owners behind the products.
That's how Tethered started. Is they blew up with the teaching train.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. That would be really cool.
Yeah, those teaching train events are awesome, and doing something like that is super beneficial. Especially if you can split the cost between a bunch of business owners.
You know what would be awesome is have one of them teaching trains at a THE event. That would be sweet.
Yep.
Like have the teaching train set up on the course. So like you get to shoot your bow out of the quick climb. So that would be real cool.
Well,
Man, you want to talk about a bottleneck, though. Everyone's looking up for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would probably take forever to get through the course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you would really know if you like it and if you could use it that way. You know what I mean?
You just set one shot up like that, and you only have them climb, 3-4 foot, 5 foot off the ground. That would be beneficial.
Well, I also actually really work that have the perfect spot for it because I have about a 15-foot cliff face that you can drop to. So we've looked at doing a tree stand shot that, okay, look, there's a tree stand here, and you're 2 feet off the ground, but you're 15 feet down.
Yeah, using the topography is huge for like a 3D shoot and doing that stuff safe.
Yeah, we've done that. We haven't done that particular one, but we've done things like that.
Panther, how long have you been in business?
We opened the business back in 2023. I believe. No, 24. It was just this year, the beginning. Now I opened the business in 23, but my parents got involved in 24, and I opened the business in Indiana to begin with, and then we closed that business and moved it to Ohio. So with my parents involved, we've only been around since January of 24, but I started the business in April of 23.
Okay.
And we've been working on this since 2021. It's been a long time. We fine-tuned it.
That's kind of why I was asking. Like, people don't realize how long it really takes to release a product and how expensive it is.
Oh my God. Yeah. And JD knows. I mean, so we're going to start selling our first product, our first batch, here in like 2 weeks. Our first run is going out. And I am so broke. It's not even funny. I mean, it will literally break you and break everyone around you, even your wife, your family. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot to get into. A lot of people, they talk about some of it's easy, but some of it's not easy.
The easiest part, I think, is the concept. Coming up with a concept for a product. The problem is a concept doesn't put the product to market. Then you have to find someone to make it. Then you probably have to go through 3 or 4 people to make it for a price that's acceptable. Then Then it's like, if you're lucky, only 4 or 5 iterations of the product before you can take it to market.
Yeah, and if my dad, we started this together with my dad, and he's, been the kind of the brainchild behind everything. He has the ability to go out into a shop. He has an actual shop, so he has the ability to go out and actually put together, the ideas that we bounce off of each other. And I think that is extremely beneficial. And He can take something and make it look really, really good.
Yeah, being able to do the R&D in house is huge.
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
So I'm gonna go grab some coffee. What I missed before I walked into old Seth here preaching about his productivity.
Basically, just talking about what it takes to bring a product to market. The reason I thought about that is Drew asked about like the Grit series.
Yeah.
I bet you it would cost.
Sorry about that. I gotta go. I'm at work.
Oh.
Bye.
It'd probably take $30,000 to properly roll out like a Grit series for Panther platforms.
Panther has already. He hasn't told me yay or nay to say this or not, but he's just in the production process. He's already out. $40,000.
Oh yeah, 100%, all day long. Well, like I said, I'm in process of bringing a broadhead to market. I had that broadhead designed in like 2014, and that cost me $2,500 because I knew the guy that did all the design work and all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. When I was with one of the heads you've tested, when I was with Black Flag Archery, the owner Chris Powers was telling me that it cost him almost $300 per head to get it manufactured.
Yeah, prototypes are insane.
Yeah.
I've got 20 prototypes of that broadhead that I've been working on, and it was just shy of $500 to get them done. And that's not even with the production, like steel and stuff like that I want to use. I literally told him use the cheapest you can because right now I just want to see if it'll function how I want it to.
So do you want 19? You can send me one. I'll test it out.
Nobody is seeing it until it's done.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in talks with somebody to manufacture right now, and I'm looking at $15,000 for my first run.
Woo!
And that's the production run. That's not. I still have probably 4 or 5 phases of prototyping before I even get there.
Yep.
And that's not counting the cost because to prototype a broadhead, I need to go shoot stuff with it.
Yeah.
So that's not including the cost to go somewhere and try to shoot a bunch of stuff with it over and over.
I saw your video looking for somewhere to try and hunt a hog or whatever.
Yeah.
It was one of those, man, if you'd have put that video up 2 weeks ago, I'd have been like, come on down, I got them. And now they're gone again.
Yeah, dude, it's like, biggest reason I put that up is because I'd like to be able to go and take all these broadheads I test and put them through something.
I know a public land spot you can come and use.
But see, then again, that's more expense for more travel.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I'm not opposed to public land, right? Like I'm a public land hunter anyways. I like to work. I just need a lot of targets to shoot, and I can't shoot things here year round. And apparently, it's frowned upon to buy chickens to shoot them with broadheads. So,
freaking weird. You need to move to Texas, bud. Texas or Oklahoma, there's a whole lot more things you can shoot year round.
Oklahoma possibly. Texas, I'll pass on. There's not enough public land there.
That's true. Oklahoma, I am blessed.
It's been a ranch.
There is a lot of public land here compared to other states.
I know Troy, but I don't know Troy like that.
Well, I'm just saying, I can call them and be like, hey, we're coming down, to do some testing.
Troy has told me before that he would let people come on his ranch and shoot the deer before he'd let people come on and shoot the pigs because he prefers to hunt pigs over deer. He don't care about the deer. Crazy.
Yeah.
Which pigs are fun, don't get me wrong. I went to Oklahoma a few years back and shot a pig. It was great. But,
yeah, I mean, I got
haven't a pig yet. I want to so bad.
Hogs, but I ain't going to say I like shooting hogs more than I do a deer. For me, shooting a hog is I'm sitting there deer hunting. Oh, hey, I don't have to use a tag on that.
Not like coyotes for us here.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing on a coyote. Hey, that don't cost a tag. Ka-tow!
See, a coyote turns into a coyote hunt.
Yep,
Exactly.
I've taken a lot of coyotes, but that's the one thing I haven't taken yet is a pig, and I want to so bad.
Aren't you in
if
Georgia?
any of y'all, want to,
I haven't had one come across me.
That is the one
I'm in the wrong area. I know.
That is the one animal I can't seem to get with a
Trying to let
bow.
us hunt. Listen to Drew.
if any of y'all because I know most of y'all pretty good. Evan, you're the only one I don't really know. Chest Number, I've watched your videos a couple times, but if any of y'all want to come hunt pigs, I have a spot. They come in at 7 o'clock on the dot every single night, and they're pushing my deer out. So y'all come get them, seriously.
All right, so next weekend we're converging on Drew's house, and we're gonna just be in a ring of trees all the way around this freaking tree. And we're gonna come to full draw with the radios on, but 1, 2, 3, flop.
I'll bring the broadheads.
What frequents? There's a boar, 6 sows, and about, I don't know. I mean, I'm not above shooting shoats, so probably like 15 shoats.
Bacon bit'll eat.
Yep.
Bacon bit'll eat.
Well, hold on. That's a new term for me, Drew. What is that? I know the difference on a boar and a sow, but what's the other one?
Shoat is the babies.
Piglet.
Okay.
Yeah. I call them shoats because they're little
That's another
shits.
phraseology I haven't heard before.
Is that word? Yeah, man. Like, I'm looking. A lot of that's for the broadhead testing because I buy all these broadheads, but I can't test it through a live animal unless I can test it through a live animal. But once my design is finished and I've got the true prototypes, I need to go shoot a bunch of shit with them too. So,
Well, you bring them prototypes. You bring them prototypes. Let me look at a couple, and I'll show you where the pigs are.
you show me where the pigs are. I'll let you shoot one with it.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Yeah, just do what Troy does. Just shoot a bunch of dead stuff.
What's your problem, though? It sounds like you
non-disclosure.
right.
Yeah, I tried that. The game warden was not too happy about tannerite on public land.
I would say not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is public land. Okay, yeah.
He also told us we're not allowed to get rid of Asian carp with a shot pew. So
He don't like fun.
that's what I'm saying. He showed up at the house and he's like, "Hey, I heard you guys were starting this. You're not doing that." I said, "Okay, we won't."
Hey,
We're-
so Jeff Thumper, while I got you on here, can you help me get this through Drew's stubborn ass head? The importance of knock sets in your D-loop.
I won't put a bow together without knock sets. I used to not do knock sets at all. I really just didn't give a shit. What changed my mind is I accidentally cut a D loop one time when I was out hunting, and I always carry a little kit with me.
Yep.
And I realized that I didn't know exactly where my D loop was set.
My dad refuses to put them on. I put them. I like having them on my bow, but my dad refuses to put knock sets on.
Okay, but why do you like them?
I like them because of the exact reason Chest Thumper just said. It's easy to go, oh, okay, that's where it was. When I'm changing them, whatever. Dad doesn't like them because he if you think I'm a speed guy, my dad is even more crazy about it. He's taking material off of the strings, moving things around. He doesn't have any weight on the string because it might lose or gain him 1 foot a second.
I got you.
Peepless?
So, what are y'all's thoughts
He doesn't
on?
go peepless yet just because he can't, because he's tried it and he can't be as accurate without a peep. But he did try it.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, I'm not willing to give there.
Yeah.
So y'all were talking about the importance of the knock sets because of in the chance a D loop breaks, and you need to have a reference point of retying. That's one. But what y'all haven't touched on is knock pin.
If you tie it tight enough, it's not a problem.
That's interesting because I don't think it makes that much of a difference. The only reason it would help is because it spreads the D-loop out a little bit, but if you pay attention when you're shooting, it does pinch less, but if you tie a D-loop up properly, it doesn't enough to matter anyways, unless you're shooting a very short axle-to-axle bow. And if you shoot a very short axle-to-axle bow, even with the knock sets in there, you have to be careful of pinch because if you tie those knock sets too big, it'll still pinch that knock.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that's
So I was right.
that's a bow dependent thing.
I don't shoot them on my hunting setup, but I shoot them on my target setup.
I shoot them on. Like I said. Well, and so
I run them on everything.
I'll tell you. Here's another huge reason I do it, because I work on other people's bows. Like, I have customer bows, and I have a few guys that shoot enough. They go through these pretty quick, but more often than not, what it is guys leave their arrows in the case, or the broadheads in the case, or they're dicking around with something and they cut it. And it's just a heck of a lot easier for them to roll back in, and I tie those knock sets in right and tie their D-loop back on, than to have to re-level, run it back through paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's from like a working on other people's bow perspective, there's a huge help there. On my own personal stuff, it's the same thing really, because it's laziness. Like, I don't want to have to redo all my bullshit with D-loop on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really, I tie knock sets because I'm lazy.
I got you. Okay.
But
I started tying knock sets once I actually was shooting a short actual bow, and I come to full draw, and I actually noticed my arrow lift off the rest, and I said, "Okay, let down, go fix that now."
Yep.
I ran into that issue one time. Now, I've shot different bows without knock sets before and didn't have that issue, but because of that one issue, every time I touch a bow now, it gets a set of knock sets on it.
Yeah, and I don't think it's right or wrong either way. Like I said, I used to shoot without knock sets for years and years and years, just because I didn't want to do the extra work of putting them on a string. Now that I'm older and lazier, I realized it's more work to not put them on the string, especially working on other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also, if you have a D-loop on a bow long enough, it'll wear in the serving, and then you can see where it was tied.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and then when I see that, and I have customers that come in that want to retune or just double check their tune and all that kind of stuff, and I'm looking at their D-loop, and if the center part of the D-loop where you hook on is starting to fray a little, I'll be like, all right, let's go ahead while we're here, let's go ahead and change the D-loop, and I'll take it off, and I'll realize that their serving has already started to cave in basically. And at that point, nope, I'm going to retie you a new center serving.
yeah.
And I won't put a new D loop on our old serving like that that's already caved in. I just won't do it.
I don't mind it if it's smashed a little bit, but if it starts to separate, it's time to retie the center.
And that's what I mean by separating. Yeah.
If it's separated,
Separating, it's time to retie.
it takes 5 minutes to retie center serving.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you're really worried about knock pinch, the worst D-loop invention ever is the best fix for knock pinch, and that's those metal clamp-on.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
I knew you was fixing to say that.
Either that or the what's the other one? The torqueless D loop. Have you tied one of those in a while?
I've not. So I tied a torqueless D-loop for myself once, and was like, "Yeah, no, piss on this." So
I haven't tried it. I want to try it just because it looks weird.
That'd go with drunk fletching.
well, you got a thing for stuff that looks weird, so
I do. It's
Yeah.
right up my alley.
does it work? Absolutely, it absolutely works. I just don't see like a standard D-loop does all the same things.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your form is right, you won't need it. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, you don't need a torqueless D loop. If you're torquing the bow on purpose, you may need it.
Well, and where that came from is guys that are tying D-loops too short. And if you look at a guy that's got a too short D-loop, when they, especially, and it's with a hand release, a thumb button, or when they rotate, it'll actually twist that string.
Yep.
Extend your D-loop another 1/16 of an inch and it fixes it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I make all my D loops 4 3/4. That's what all my D loops are.
I don't have a measured out system because the reason I stopped doing a standard is because everybody's a little bit different. So I tend to tie them like
Based on the customer.
correct.
Okay.
And not based on what they want necessarily, unless I know they have a ton of experience. Usually it's based on what I realize they actually need. And a lot of the times it's like, if somebody buys a bow that does 27.5 inches and they're actually a 27.625 draw length,
Yeah.
I can eat that out with a D loop and make it right.
That's exactly what I'm doing with my Omen right now because I have a 32-inch draw length, but I like to shoot a half-inch short because of a heavy coat. But the bow only goes to 31 inches, so I put a little bit extra long D-loop on there. And hey, looky there, we're at 31.5 inches.
Yeah, there you go.
You're a 32-inch draw length.
Yeah, that's what I measure to be is a 32-inch draw length.
Good lord.
And I'm shooting.
I know, right?
I like to shoot a 31.5.
You know, most guys are jealous about dudes with big schlongs. I'm jealous about dudes with long draw lengths.
Yep.
Yeah, it does have its advantages. I will say, hunting out of a pop-up blind sucks.
Yeah, you'd have to have a. Well, you ever seen those? There's a brand.
My brother got one last year that's like a small apartment.
There's a brand of, and I forget the brand name, but it's pop-up blinds that are specifically made for big dudes.
Yeah,
6.5 foot tall at the hub.
That's what he got. That's what he got.
Yeah.
It was 6.5 foot tall, and instead of a 4-wall hub blind, it's a 5-wall hub blind.
Octagon. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean the thing it easily bow hunt
tree
with
line?
two people easy. Literally, me and my father. I'm right-handed. He's left-handed. We're able to sit in the blind and go, hey, if it comes to the left of that tree, it's mine. If it comes to the right of that tree, it's yours. And easily, both of us able to draw
Wow.
inside this giant apartment of a blind. Now, the only problem is when you have a blind that big, getting a deer to walk that freaking close.
Well, it's
There's
gonna
a
have to be
brand
there
new
for a
brush
while.
pile there that wasn't there the day before.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be there for a little bit for them to get used to it, for sure.
Yeah. So I've basically, when it comes to on the ground hunting, I hunt out of pop-up blinds occasionally, but because of my long arms, that might be changing with my gear head because I'm setting it up to just be no stabilizer, and I got a B24.
You got a gear head?
Oh, I love my gearhead. I got one I got it in 2020 at 70 pounds, and I killed 4 deer that season, a turkey and a hog. Freaking loved it, and I had it set up as my backup bow for a little while when I got my Omen, and then because Omen is a sponsorship deal, and I like the Omen, and then I set it up for my fiance for her very first real bow. And she shot it, but didn't really like it. It was too advanced of a bow for her, being a very big kid. And then I've now set it back up for me, a Gearhead B24 with 80-pound limbs at 32 inches.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
do
humming
any
a
of y'all have one
440
that I can put on the big screen here and go over it?
What's that?
What?
The gearhead. Any one of y'all two? Because I know you're a gearhead guy and you're a gearhead guy. To be able to show it on here and go over some of the features on it.
Mine's at my father's house.
Yep, give me just a second. I'll be right back.
All right. I'd like to just get a closer look at it other than website pictures.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna peel off here, guys. Hey, JB, thanks for letting me on tonight.
Evan, hey, I appreciate you coming on tonight, buddy.
Yep. See you guys later.
See ya.
But anyway, like I was saying before we went off the gearhead tangent, if I'm hunting on the ground most of the time, I've just gotten to where if I'm going to bow hunt from the ground, I just want to release it, and I am blind.
Yep.
And I've been fairly successful with it. I mean,
I
about lightweight. You ain't got to carry no ground blind in.
Yeah, exactly. I out of my bow hunting career, I've been successful one time off the ground without the blind, with nothing, just tucked behind a tree.
Yep.
And it's God Almighty, at the adrenaline rush you get with that.
Yep. I've gotten on the ground and no blind. I've gotten 4 or 5 with it I've gotten 4 or 5 on the ground with no blind that I will say, hey, no, I was set up and a hunt occurred. I've killed 6 or 7 on the ground, no blind, because I was walking out from a deer stand and the dumbass didn't leave.
Yeah.
He just stood there long enough for me to knock an arrow and shoot him.
All right, let's look at this thing.
What in the heck is that?
That's a gearhead, Drew.
Yeah, that is gearhead.
It's an erector set for adults.
So that is the same site. The Copper John is the same site that I have on mine. And they don't make it anymore, and I have a broken part. Have you found any other site on the market that will do that?
Built to do it? No. Can do it? Several.
Okay. Send me a list later.
Okay.
Because I need a new site.
So this is a customer bow. He's got a B24. This is a B30, and he wanted it set up exactly how he has his B24 set up.
So with the numbers, I'm assuming that's your axle to axle.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 30.125 axle to axle. This one is 60 to 75 pounds. All kinds of adjustment in the draw length.
Yeah, I see a whole bunch of holes in that mod up there.
Well, so this is your draw length adjustment. This is your let off adjustment. So this bow probably holds, and I haven't actually measured it, I probably should, but I bet you, I've got it dialed all the way in at 75 pounds. I bet you it's holding 6.5 pounds, maybe a full draw.
So 80, 87, 88% let off.
A little more than 90.
A little more than 90.
Wow.
Literally, I had my bow set up the same as I can do my own minutes. I can come to full draw, point the bow down if I wanted to.
Wait a minute.
I'm not that brave, but
But also, with this, you could set it up to like a 65% if you wanted that. You know, you get, I mean, there's some flexibility here. It's got limb stops and cable stops. So if you like that super solid back wall, it's going to give you that for sure.
So it's a shoot through riser.
The shoot through riser, yep.
Okay, so it's a. So, okay, is that a right-handed bow with a left-handed rest?
No, it's a right-handed bow.
It's whatever. It's either one.
Well, what's really cool about these bows is I can take 6 bolts off this and make it a left-handed bow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. You take 6 bolts out now.
There's 6 bolts on each, 3 on each side, and I can flip it all around and make it a lefty.
Because the riser's drilled and tapped in 4 different locations for where you can put your sight. So as a right-hander, you could put a left-handed sight on it, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
So does a sight? Does it run through the middle as well? Yep.
No.
Oh wow.
What?
So this sight is actually behind the riser. It's the way this one's designed. So it would sit out front like a normal, but you look through the riser and shoot.
Jesus.
It's a.
And you got 3 different grip options because the grip comes off the bow.
Oh yeah. So this is the 1911 version.
That's what I just got.
This uses 1911 scales, so you can like buy custom 1911 scales online and replace it. Then they have their standard grip, and then they have their flat back grip.
Okay, what's the price?
Give me a second. I'm actually a gearhead dealer.
I know.
That's the craziest bow I've ever seen.
It is.
Test number. I want you to give the normal person price, and then I'll text you later for the other price.
I want to say
And the thing is, they're short axles, and they're not torquey at all.
So fun
What's the
story.
brace height?
So brace height is adjustable from 5 1/4 to 7 inches.
What the hell you mean adjustable?
Because it moves.
If you want a bow that you can dial in for exactly what you want, there is nothing on the market that'll do what the Gearhead does. This is called the slider system, or the slider grip system. There are 2 bolts in the top of this that I can take out, and I can move this grip backwards or forwards, and I can move it side to side as well. So, for example, if you're somebody that has an injury and it causes you to naturally torque your bow in one direction or the other, I can offset that grip to help with that injury so that you don't torque the bow like that.
So you just flipped torque tuning on its head.
Basically, it's all with the grip. And then, if you're somebody, for example, that has a 32-inch draw length, these mods normally only go to 30.5, but I've got 1.5 inches in draw length.
Slide the handle forward.
In the grip, so I can slide the handle forward and get you your 32 inches.
Yeah. So I'm technically only shooting 30-inch draw, but I have a 32-inch draw length, so I just slid the handle all the way forward on
So,
mine.
for example, a buddy of mine, he's a 27.5 draw length. He slid the handle all the way back, and he's got a 29-inch draw length. So he's getting an extra 15 feet a second just by moving that handle back.
So okay,
And they
so
have a
what
5-inch
kind
brace
of,
rack.
what kind of strings are they running? Factory.
A3.
Okay. Okay.
So he uses A3 at their bloodline. A3 makes good strings. There's nothing in the world wrong with them.
So, with you being a dealer, you can probably confirm what my suspicions are on how I effed up my bow. So on the top cam, it cut the string not string, cable. It cut one of the cables where it gets close-ish there. Yep. Now, here's why I think it happened. Because everything else looks right, set up right, everything that way. On the original grip, not my 1911 grip, I may have not had the string stop on the bow at all, and I think it over-rotated, and that's what allowed it to cut.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, and with you being who you are and being knowledgeable on the gearheads, that what I did to screw it up?
It wouldn't have done that if you didn't have such a long draw length.
Yeah. That's kind of what I figured.
Is it a shim adjust, top hat, yoke? What is it?
So it's none of them. If you're gonna adjust it with shims, but there's not really enough room in there to shim it. I have not had any cam lean issues. If I have had cam lean issues, I would just adjust the cable slide. So the way it's set up kind of old school, the way the string works. There's no yoke system or anything like that. So you can adjust the cable slide, and it causes the cams to lean.
Yeah, as you draw. Yeah.
Yeah, opposite of each other. You know what I mean? So if you have to play with it all, that's the way you got to do it.
Okay. Since you're shooting through the riser, what's your rest? Is it still the standard 13/16 or what?
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh. It sets up just like a standard bow. And then
right now I have a Trophy Taker Smackdown on mine. I usually run a QAD.
So these are 1074 retail.
I am mind blown. This thing is like nothing I've seen.
It's an erector set, buddy.
Let me finish going through everything it can do. So when I told you can really set this bow up exactly how you want, like that's no bullshit. You can mount your quiver here, here. You can mount it on your sight like normal. You can mount it down low, or at an angle down low, or you can mount it all the way down at the bottom upside down. And you can do that on both sides of the bow. And the reason that's significant is because typically speaking on a standard bow, you put a bunch of weight on one side, and you have to correct that with stabilizers. With this bow, you can put a sight on one side and a quiver on the other side, and have it balance itself without the need of a back bar to get in the way. Also, interestingly enough, this is the only bow I've ever shot that I don't feel the need to put a stabilizer on. But if I do feel the need to put a stabilizer on it, you can also mount it in
different holes to put it in.
You can mount it in any one of those 5 holes to help, again,
Well, if you want to be a weirdo and have 5 different stabilizers, if you got small enough stabilizers.
Don't show Tim Gillingham that bow.
Yeah, no joke. But yeah, so it will literally do, like, when it comes to you being able to dial in your bow exactly how you want it, there's nothing else to do what a gearhead will do. Nothing. My big thing. So I'm shooting for gearhead this year. It's the first time I've tied myself to a bow company, I think, ever. Nope, I lied. I tied myself to Expedition 1 year. But the reason why, as much as I like the bow, has nothing to do with the bow and everything.
Dark last year too, wasn't it?
I wasn't tied to it. I didn't have any contracts or anything. I was just a dealer, so I was shooting what I sold.
Okay.
And I'm still a dart dealer, and this year's bows are great. Like I said, Skip, the guy that owns Gearhead, is the most salty human being I think I've ever met.
I love Skip. I've talked to him twice, and I absolutely love him.
What really sold me on Skip and Gearhead is I had a customer bring me a bring me a D24, and it's this 13-year-old kid. He bought it off his uncle. The draw length too long, too much draw weight. And I'm like, well, let me see if I can get parts to adjust stuff. So I got a hold of Skip. First time I've ever spoke to him, and I was like, hey, here's the situation. What can we do for this kid? He's like, well, really, the bow doesn't go down to what he needs. I'm like, okay, so I need to sell him a new bow. He goes, well, give me a week to play around. He took and built a bow with special limbs, special cam, special string to dial it in to what that kid needs, and then sent me the parts for free. All he asked is that I send him back the other parts.
That's what he did whenever I switched it to my fiance. Because, like I said, 32-inch draw length. She's 5'4". She's not fitting my bow.
Yeah, no.
And so, I was able to get a hold of Skip, and he goes, "How about I just send you parts and you send me parts back?"
You use your feet.
Yeah. So when Skip did that, and the guy you could tell, he kind of mentioned he didn't really have a ton of money to put into it. And the kid used all this money he had saved and worked for all summer to buy this bow, not really knowing what's going on. So when Skip sent me that stuff and that kid walked in, and I was like, yeah, man, the guy's like, well, what's it going to cost? I'm like, well, Skip sent me this stuff for free, and I'm going to put the bow back together for free. So it's just going to cost you gas to get here and gas to get home.
Good.
Totally worth it, man.
That's
Watching a kid have his first big adult bow, be able to shoot it. We got it fully set up for him. His dad bought him a half dozen new arrows, anyways. Worth it. And when somebody that owns a business that is their livelihood goes out of their way to help customers like that, I'm sold. So, despite the fact that I do really like the bows, and I do really like the bows, I would shoot Gearhead or Skip alone if they were okay.
Yeah. So what's the physical weight of the bow?
So they're pretty heavy. This is 5 pounds bare.
That's not bad.
It's
not bad. I mean, hell, my phase four fully dressed was 8.5 pounds.
Yeah, so it's Matthews heavy because Matthews bows are all usually around 5 pounds.
Okay.
The lift this year is one of the lightest bows I've ever had. But also, this is the B30. This year they're coming out with the P30. It's called the P30 because it has a pivot system up here in the limbs, which basically extend limb life by 10 times and smooth out your draw weight or your draw cycle some.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a rocker pivot system up here on the limbs, so as you draw, it pivots.
Okay.
To not cause wear on the limbs underneath it, you would for clothes.
Gotcha.
So that pivot system. And then with that, they're redesigning the riser. He's cut off, I think he said just shy of half a pound in a riser redesign as well. So I've got a P30 ordered. I'm waiting for it to show up. I ordered my girlfriend a P30. I've shot it before, and he's actually getting ready to drop a P24 also as soon as the riser design gets finished up on it. But
nice.
So on average with a, I don't know, average 28-inch draw, 70-pound, 450 grain arrow, there's somewhere in the middle. What kind of speed are you getting?
Hold on a minute, I'll tell you exactly.
Unorthodox, you can't answer. You're a 32-inch draw.
Man, he's definitely not shooting.
That's the thing I like about them is they are in general fast. They're a pretty fast bow.
Well, and another thing about being able to really customize it to what you want, it's got 3 different aggression settings for how you would like your bow to shoot. It's got a comfort setting, a standard setting, and it's got a performance setting.
Okay, Bowtech.
Yeah, except you don't have to switch mods out to get it. You just move where the string's attached to the cam.
Everybody says APA is the Swiss Army knife of bows. It's really kind of geared.
Well, APA is the Swiss Army knife in that there's always a bunch of extra stuff on there. And APA makes a good bow, too. I shot an APA King Cobra for a year and liked it a lot. But when it comes to being able to truly customize what your shooting experience is, there is nothing.
Yeah. I guess I said that wrong. Gearhead would be the most modular bow you could do.
Correct. Yeah, it's the Erector set of bows.
Is there any other color options other than black? I know that's...
They have Give me a second here.
Yeah, they don't go with the Batman method. They have other colors.
Yeah, and Skip's the type of guy.
Get a rattle can.
If you knew somebody that did custom dipping or you wanted something that he didn't offer, he would just send you the stuff bare metal and let you take it somewhere probably.
I saw some guys on the Gearhead Facebook group. They wrapped paracord all through their riser.
So that's Jeremy Korn. That's a very good friend of mine. And what I was going to say is, you were talking about how the short bows don't shoot like they're short. I went and shot an R100 event with him, and he shoots a B24.
Mm-hmm.
At that R100, remember how many people, like 80-something people maybe showed up over the 3 days. He placed third out of 80-something people, and then he won their Steel Buck Challenge by like 42 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've won some long shot. I've won several long shots with my Gearhead, shooting out to 120 with it. I've won at TAC this year. First, literally got the bow in, got it put back together the Thursday before TAC, tuned it, zeroed it in at TAC, and went and shot with it. And I hit a 12 ring on a Hogzilla at 100 yards.
Yeah, so
my first R100 in Georgia this year, I went and there was, out of the whole weekend, there was, I think, 180 people, and I got 18th in my class.
solid.
So, yeah, my first one, I was like, hell yeah.
How aggressive is the draw?
What's that?
How aggressive is that draw on that bow?
Depends on what setting you have. Like the comfort setting is nothing. But the aggressive setting, the performance, it's aggressive.
Yeah, it's not on the aggressive setting. It is not a friendly bow when it comes to that.
It's hard, but you get. You asked about colors, so just on the website they have black, predator, brown camo, white, green, orange, red, pink, blue. Also, if you want something custom done, you can hit Skip up and just say, "Hey, thinking this would look cool," and he'll do it. Like he just finished putting together a bow for a guy. What's it, baby blue and yellow or something? Like it looked really sweet. But then, like I said, if you know a guy that does bottomland, he'll just send you bare riser and stuff, and you can go get it dipped in bottomland. I'm sure.
I think it
What
would
about
be
what about the speed? Like just an average guy.
Yep. Give me just a second.
I think it would be funny to do a Gearhead where each component is a different color. So you got one side of your riser that's red, one side of your riser that's black. The limbs are blue. The bottom limbs is pink.
So you got a Skittles.
It looks like you got all the scrap pieces. You build a Johnny Cash bow where it looks like you got it one piece at a time.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm sure if you told Skip, he'd be great. That dude is one of the looniest dudes. He loves all that stuff.
I'm going to call him after World because right now I ain't got time to talk business hardly at all. I'm going to be calling him after World because I would like to shoot the Gearhead, and I would like to see if I can't because the 2 times I talked to him, I had the same experience you had, and everybody I talked to just absolutely loves him, and I love the bows.
I am fortunate enough to now call him a friend. And honestly, just because I bugged him enough. Okay, so 424.8 grain arrow. You're looking at 28 at 70. You're looking at 270 average on comfort, 274 on performance. What's interesting is the more you play with things, the more you can change that. So, for example, that is literally you pull this bow out of the box, no tuning, no anything, running it through chronograph. My buddy Jeremy, with the B24, he's shooting a 532 grain arrow for 29 inches at 72.5 pounds and getting 298.
Whoa.
And when he told me that, I'm like, yeah, you're fucking full of shit, bro.
Yeah, because an inch is only 10 feet per second. So how did he jump up 20 feet per second.
Well, I told him he's full of shit. So then we went to a shop and he proved it. And then I took my chronograph to his house and he proved it again.
Gearhead magic, that's why.
Basically, what it boils down to is, in order for him to get his stuff, he moved
his brace height,
the grip around. He's got a shorter brace height overall now, and a longer draw length than normal. So again, this is literally pulling, like these numbers, I pulled the bow out of the box and went. This is not tinkering. I bet you I could tinker with this and get another 20, 25 feet a second, no problem.
So even with it being, let's just say, even if you're on comfort setting on your cam, by shortening your, I mean, you know as well as I do, a shorter brace height at the same draw poundage or mod or whatever, a shorter brace height is going to be more aggressive draw.
Yeah, typically speaking, the thing you got to think about though is if you shorten your brace height up here, you have to lengthen your draw length up here, which is going to completely change how that cam feels.
Yeah.
Plus, part of the way you can kind of tell draw is by looking at the cam design. If you look, there's not really any sharp edges for the dump over into the valley.
Yeah, the power cycle. Yeah.
So, you know, you got to take that into consideration. And then, like I said, the way you adjust, I don't know if you can see it or not. Well, I'll see if you guys can see this or not. So you can see where the string's attached.
Yep.
There's a post there.
Yeah.
There's a post here. That's how you change aggressive. So like I have it set on the aggressive setting right now.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a flip disc.
No.
Basically
what happens is you're over rotating the cams.
Okay.
Or under rotating the cams.
Okay.
So again, you have the ability to tinker and fine tune to get the perfect setup for you. Like if you're a speed guy and you want to just crank every foot per second out of this thing, yeah.
I want speed and 90% let off. That is all I care about.
Yeah, this bow can do that. If you're the guy that wants the most forgiving, like comfortable bow you'll ever shoot, it can do that. So, so 31.5 inches. So I made a video about this bow. And in my video, I put 31.5 inches at 81 pounds, which is not correct, by the way. That is incorrect. It's a typo, but I'm not going to re-post the video for it. Anyway, 75 pounds. He advertised the IBO at 330. 31.5 inches at 75 pounds with a 349.2 grain arrow, it's 327. 326.6 average. So it is real close to IBO.
Yeah. That's what I was getting out of it.
If I took the time to actually tune it, I guarantee you would hit IBO if not exceed it.
Yeah, I was getting 324. I haven't shot across the chronograph at 80 pounds yet, but when I was shooting 70 pounds, I had a 364 grain arrow in it, and I was getting 324.
Yeah,
I mean just humming arrows down range.
What were you asking?
What?
Drew started to say something, and then we kept talking.
Oh, shoot. I don't even remember now.
Fair enough.
Wasn't important then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gearhead's one of those companies that nobody knows about. It's small, and Skip is a completely and entirely one-man show, so he's designing, building, doing the R&D. If Gearhead is at a show, Skip is the one there running the booth. Like, he's doing it all himself. So the only type of team he has behind him is the field staff guys. And I think, I don't know how many, I want to say there's 40 at this point, but really like active, there's maybe 10.
Yeah.
And they're basically just doing the marketing.
Right.
Like,
First
staff
time I ever saw a Gearhead was up in Missouri, and I thought it was the silliest thing ever. It was a guy my size shooting the T18, and it was a guy my size shooting the T18, and his string was this far away from his face, and he had a release that had a neck on it this freaking long, made by True Ball, I think, that the trigger's back here, and it would stretch all the way out here to touch a D-loop, and I was like, what in the world? Why?
That's old school gearhead days. He doesn't have for sale anything like that anymore. We had the big discussion on that. So that the guy that started gearhead, one of the guys, his name was Paul. I don't remember his last name, but he was big into that kind of stuff. Not so much anymore with Skip running the show.
Yeah, I looked through the catalog this year and I didn't notice any of that stuff. So
Yeah, you're not gonna see it.
that was the first one I ever saw, and he said, "Well, this is this," and explained all of his. But this is my normal bow, and he goes and gets I think it was a T30 or something like it. It was a 30-inch bow, and this is my normal bow. But then he just started pulling all these gearheads out. I don't know who I was talking to, some dealer in Missouri, apparently a dude that brought his entire freaking shop in the bed of his truck.
Yeah.
He just starts pulling out all his bows. I'm like, I gotta get one of these.
It would make a sweet turkey bow.
It does. It makes an awesome turkey bow.
Badass tree stand bow. If you're a tree stand hunter and you can't cut lanes, like I can't cut lanes or anything on public, having a 30-inch axle-to-axle bow that I can get around stuff is freaking amazing.
Yep. I got the B24 and I have a bow dagger. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it. I got a bow dagger on it. It's the only thing I have on it besides sight and whatnot. And a turkey / ground blind / run and gun public land bow. I can't ask for a better setup. If I'm in a deer stand, the bow dagger is not in the way. It's not there. But if I'm on the ground, shove that bow dagger in the ground, it's great. If I get charged by a hog, I have a freaking bayonet now.
Yeah. Not shit.
A bow dagger is basically a spike that comes off the bottom of your bow.
Yep. You literally just
You shove it in the ground, and your arrow is knocked, and when the deer walks up, you just pick your bow up out of the ground.
Okay.
It works great unless you're hunting on rock or sand or hard clay. As long as you have normal freaking dirt, you're fine.
so
Won't work in Florida.
So what's the clearance of the bow dagger to keep your cam out of the dirt?
The bow dagger is really adjustable to make it wherever you need it to be.
Okay.
Mine, whenever I shove it in the ground, my cam is still 6 inches out of the dirt.
Okay.
So the thing with gearheads that I hear the most, like the number one thing when I tell somebody about a gearhead and like all the stuff it can do, the two things that I hear the most are one, I don't care if my bow does all that, and that's typically a guy that's taking his bow to the shop to get worked on anyways, which is fine. My response to him is then you should probably spend more time at the shop toning in your bow versus just picking it up once a weekend. Anyways, the other thing is they hate how it looks. Like that's the number one thing. Like I would never shoot that because it's ugly.
Those
I
must
can
be,
care less. It looks weird, and I love it.
I had a guy tell me that he watched one of my videos about gearhead that I made forever ago here on TikTok, and he's like, "I'd never shoot that. It's ugly as hell." I'm like, "Well, you've commented on a bunch of my videos, and I'm ugly as hell, and you watch me. What's the difference?" Like,
Hey, so because I seen it on the Gearhead video that you did, and I'm sure, Jerry, you've seen it as well. My favorite thing is when you're shooting indoors, and everybody goes to commenting how loud the bow is, not realizing, yes, the phone is 18 inches from it, and I'm inside. It's gonna be loud.
yeah, but initially that annoyed me. Now I kind of love it, and the reason I kind of love it is because a bunch of people comment, and then
Yeah.
controversy gets views, man. I mean,
It does.
a click is a click.
Whether it's positive or negative, it's a click.
Yep.
that's not really what I strive for because I would prefer to just educate people on stuff. But hey, if you're gonna get my stuff out there to more people, who am I to tell you no?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the other thing, though, about the Gearhead is it's a fairly quiet bow. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the quietest thing on the planet.
No, it's not. It's not.
But it's middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty damn quiet. And again,
it's not quiet when you don't have a string stop, though. It is very loud when you don't have a string stop on it.
as are all bows.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up.
Like taking two 2x4s and.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've never tried it. I've never experienced it, but I've started here recently to see some more videos about it. Why are people running no string stop?
I did it because I broke it.
I've not. Is this a hunting thing or a target archery thing?
They're using. I've seen it done both ways. I've seen it done with a target bow, and I've seen it done with a hunting bow. But people will purposely take the string stop off and do some shoots with it. Why?
So, target bows I could understand because you don't really care about noise. Not that I think it would give you any advantage. Like I can't foresee a way or a reason or that it would give you any advantage in a target situation. In a hunting situation, it makes zero damn sense because let's quiet a bow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason
Now,
why
wouldn't it,
everybody has
wouldn't
one
it
now.
also like kind of over oscillate the string? Couldn't you damage
Yes.
something like that?
Yes, it can. Speaking from experience, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see somebody taking, like in a target situation, if you talk to target archers, some of them like feedback from their bow, they like the vibration because that's how they learn that it's shooting the same every single time, no matter what.
Okay.
So I could see maybe that argument, but I could also see you just adjusting your string stop a little bit forward to get a little bit more vibration.
Right.
To do the same thing. But other than that, I don't know why anyone would
To get you to ask that question.
probably.
Okay.
Some people do drop selection on their arrows, huh?
Was talking about actually gaining, the video I saw was talking about gaining almost 10 feet a second without running it.
No.
I don't see that being true because it's not just because the arrow is already off the string, so you wouldn't be able to create any more speed.
A string stop, if I remember correctly, the originally string stops put on there, one to quiet the bow, and two, it was in the midst of the speed race, and it was to gain feet per second.
The only way they're gaining any kind of feet per second is by over oscillating the string, which is essentially making their brace height shorter. Because the reason a smaller brace height is faster is because it's a longer power stroke overall.
Yep.
So that's the only way they're going to gain speed. And I'm not going to say they can't gain speed that way. I'm going to say I don't see it being likely, and 10 feet a second sounds insane. Also, if you think about it, though, that's only an inch of over oscillation on the string. And I would say you'd probably see that more out of a target bow than you would a hunting bow because a longer axle to axle bow is going to have more string to oscillate like that.
I got you. Okay.
There's not a lot of guys out there hunting with a 40-inch Oshkosh bow anymore.
Yeah. Again, that's a lot of speculation without me actually playing around with it and finding out. It's just.
Well, there's some more content for you.
It kind of sounds like maybe he had the string stop set up improperly and it wasn't tuning out right. Because you can gain 10 feet a second easily if your bow is not tuned and then you tune it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a different one. I've not really seen that a whole lot. But I also, to be really honest with you, I don't stay up with a lot of like what's going on in the industry except for new products.
Yeah.
Because opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and most of them stink.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's like a big part of the reason I really want to try to put out content that's founded with fact and not opinion is because my opinion doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah.
But if I can give factual evidence to back up things that I say, it just makes life easier.
Right.
Also, I like factual evidence because then I can change my opinion if my opinion's wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree with that.
So one thing I really don't want to be is a clickbait creator that's just putting shit out there to make you click on it and go, that's dumb.
Yeah, that sounds like a match on me. Come on now.
It's not a bash on anybody, not on anybody in here. I'm very much the type of person, if it was a bash on somebody specifically, I would just be like, hey, you make content clickbaity as shit.
I'm aware.
I've done I'm not gonna lie. I've done a few videos where the clickbait or the video the screenshot of what you click on is a half naked chick, but then you watch and it's just me out there in a tree. I've done it. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I tell you what I've thought about doing at the
Are
archery.
you half naked in the tree?
No.
I'd be pissed.
I could get a whole lot of people to one archery shoot. I could get a ton of guys out there. I just put out a whole bunch of propaganda. Guys, we're going to have topless guides. And when they get there, it's just me and all my buddies with no shirts on.
It's in the shortest jean shorts you can find.
Exactly. Where the hunt, eat, lift shorts I got last year.
Hey, I've got 3 pairs of those.
Man, I caught so much hell for it. Those, I was like, I don't care. It's 103, and I'm about to die.
They're so fucking comfortable.
They are. They have become my swim trunks. Is what they have become.
I've got 3 pairs of them, dude. I wear them around the house. I work out in them if I work out. Like, they're so fucking comfortable. It's ridiculous. And
you guys are the same fucking person. Like, y'all are so similar. It's not even funny.
We are, I guess.
Why we get along.
We used to look a lot alike too, but then someone shaved.
I had to. I'm not happy about it.
And the thing is, I wear glasses when I'm not got my contacts in too, and they're square frames like that is the weird part.
Yeah, they fit our face shape better.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. Well, hey, on y'all's Daisy Dukes comment, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate all the insight of all your knowledge. So thank you, everybody. So we'll be definitely hollering at y'all later.
Nice seeing you guys. I'm gonna go work on more videos.
All right, hey, I'm gonna text you here in a minute.
Hey, Drew.
Yes, sir.
Message me the information for those pigs. I'm serious.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Uh,
We're all coming.
JD, you know where it's at?
All right, man. We'll see y'all.
Catch y'all later.